Hey, everybody. You are here live with Dave Jose. I pray that you guys can hear me. I did have a class that I was supposed to do tonight, but I did find out that there's so many bad things happening. As you guys know, I don't watch the news and I haven't been watching Twitter very much lately. But I got some messages from a couple of trustees that told me that all hell was breaking loose and wrong was happening across North Carolina and part of Georgia where there was massive flooding. So I decided that I would talk to the group or the membership and ask them if it was okay if I could not do the class for tonight and postpone it maybe into Monday or this upcoming week and deal with the issues that are going on with FEMA and how they are blocking the people from getting remedy, help, wealth to be able to pay for the food they need and the such. And then I heard, and I have to look it up and check, of an outlandish, um, just bunch of tomfoolery where I was told that the people are being offered $750. And I haven't looked it up, but I have heard that the money that was supposed to be used for the people in North Carolina was possibly used to send money to uh, unlawfully, uh, well, people who are unlawfully entering the nation. And so immigrants that are unlawfully coming through the border, I'm being told that that's where the money has went. Now, there's a couple of issues that I have with all of this stuff. And we got to kind of look at the creation of the nation and how it was done in order to completely understand how to deal with these issues. Now we are going. Somebody said Southpaw said fine print says it's a loan, so I heard. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure, and I don't know. So I don't want to say things that are wrong because I'll tell you what happens is that bad actors in government and bad actors who are trying to take over our government often put out false information so that we make these claims and sound dumb. I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is deal with the basic necessity and law of the people in order to deal with how we could make this right. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you something. Some people are saying that they think that it might be some types of activity going on with a device that was made to change the weather. I do believe that could be possible. I do know that I've seen information about cloud seeding. I remember in Arizona back in the day, people who had private airplanes would go up in the air after actors would spray chemtrails into the sky. They would go up in the air, get the samples of what was up there, and they found aluminum, I think it was, and barium possibly. Whatever the mix was with the aluminum would cause for the trees up north to become brittle, and I believe they set fire really easily as well. Now, this is important, guys, because people who I think one of the ladies who went on to become a politician later, a legislator in Arizona, actually was there and was actually doing a report on that issue. I believe I think I'm correct. Now, HARP is the other technology, Joshua. But either way, there are so many things wrong with what is happening. And I want you guys to kind of look at what is happening and analyze. What I would tell you guys is that if you just pay close attention, you will see people saying once again, it is not fair. Now, if you heard people say it's not fair what they're doing, it's not fair that they won't let people go see their family members and the such, right? Um, now, today just shared with me US 20100072297A1 method for controlling hurricanes. A method for controlling hurricanes by raising temperature in the eye and or in the outflow of the hurricane by flying a fleet of jet planes with afterburners. There's a patent for that. A method is disclosed for affecting the formation and or direction of a low atmospheric weather system. Uh, that's another patent. Oh, wait. 529. Yeah, that's another patent. Hurricane and tornado control device. Now, that was from today. Thank you for that information today. What we need to do, guys, is we need to realize, and I need you guys to understand this because we've seen a lot of games being played. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you real quick. I had to stop and say this. I need to talk to you about the Jesuits of Rome, guys. They are a militia that Abraham Lincoln, Napoleon, and others talked about, um, and the destruction that comes from them as a military order. They are some of the most brilliant men in the world. They are highly trained and they infiltrate governments. Now, the reason I have to speak to you about this is because the Jesuits are very good at attacking from multiple places at the same time. So if you look now, you got to stop and slow down and say, how is it that the FBI was involved with actors who are in the middle of our movements and law? How was it that the FBI was also involved with the gentleman who took part in trying to shoot Trump? There was uh, phone pings of someone in his house or him really close to the FBI building. If you look at what's happening with schools, how FBI agents and the US DOJ were behind the scenes trying to figure out how to arrest parents who would stand up for their children. The same time, you see that there is an attack on trying to make children the opposite sex, which is impossible, but they're trying, right? So, what I need us to see as a people is that we got to stop giving people the benefit of the doubt and thinking that everything is just happening in and of itself, um, and separate from everything else. One thing that the Jesuits were good at is when the Jesuits funded Hitler, right? Jesuits and Vatican funded Hitler. And the Jesuits and the Vatican call Hitler their fallen son. But what happened was is that when things started getting hectic and looking close to Hitler taking over, you'll see where there was an information dump of a whole bunch of wrong things at once. Let me give you an example. Kind of like there's an information dump of Diddy, an information dump of vaccines causing autism now. There's an information dump of health officials lying to us about how things really work. There's an information dump about Kamala now. There's an information dump about all these different things, right? You got to stop and slow down and say, okay, so how is there an information dump where the Fed is saying that Trump was going to have another assassination attempt within 30 days? Right? So, guys, we got to be very careful because the Jesuits have a thing that they like to do when they're destroying nations, that they do an information dump to make it look like everything is coming out so that they could get you to calm down and not attack, not try to fix the situations, right? So, what we need to do is realize how and why governments are made up. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you this again. I have told people in many different situations how we can reverse this whole situation and fix it. So I'm going to ask you guys, if we could focus, guys, and show people the real way to fix every issue that we're seeing in government at once, how many of you guys would be interested by show of hands or thumb up? Somebody else watch and check and see if you can see people giving a thumb up or a show of hands that they would like to see that. How many of you guys would like to see Every issue that the government is doing coming down. Anybody? Can anybody see any thumbs ups?
There's lots of thumbs up, Dave. Lots of thumbs up.
Okay, perfect. I only seen like Frankfurter, Farmer, Red Blood, and Pilsner, and then Fisherman.
Yeah.
Now April,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
They're all the way down
Perfect.
there. We're getting lots of them.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, what's happening is we're being attacked in America from different angles. And then because the government themselves are not coming out and saying we're purposely attacking you, what happens is in every little situation and big situation, you find people waiting to be given permission to fix the issues. Now, guys, I need you to understand I tried hard to show people with elections how the people could take the whole nation back. Now, that wasn't a serious enough problem, I guess. So now we're dealing with people dying, right? Kids dying. I need you guys to slow down, stop, pay attention. I need you guys to imagine right now that there's kids who are being drowned right now, right? I need you to understand that there's kids who suffocated, right? With big buildings and things falling on top of them right now, right? Sitting crushed right now, waiting on somebody to come help, right? I need you to hear that kid screaming, "Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, help me, somebody help me." See, we've been desensitized to other people's pain in many instances. So I need you to slow down. And I need you, if you have your kid, right? If you're blessed enough to have access to your kid or your grandkid, just look over at the grandbaby or imagine them and imagine them alive, but in torment because they're trapped and they're screaming. And they're believing that their mommy, their daddy, their grandmama, their granddaddy is going to save them because that's the toughest and strongest person they know. I need you to imagine them bleeding or them seeing water raising up and them saying, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Please don't let me die." I want you to look over at your spouse and imagine your spouse screaming, "Don't let me die. Don't let me die. Don't let me die." See, a lot of times we don't give a freak about anybody else's pain until it happens to us. We got to stop this bull. See, America is being destroyed from many angles, y'all. When we had the situation happen where they cut off the ports in the East Coast and the West Coast, and they wouldn't let people come pick up stuff, and business started going down, and they couldn't get all these microchips they were supposed to get, so the cars started having issues and the manufacturers, and then people started getting laid off. And then they went and they shut down the oil pipeline. Nobody gave a freak because it wasn't their situation. Guys, we got to stop that bull. We cannot continue, guys, to only give a freak when it comes knocking on your freaking door. We got to stop it, right? So you got red-blooded Americans right now struggling and FEMA telling them that they can't do anything about it. I need us to slow down, stop, and realize that we need to know how to deal with our nation. Because a lot of times we start saying stuff like, "Well, what do we do now? Well, what do we do from here? Well, what do we have the power to do? Well, who do we have to ask to help us? Well, the sheriff ain't doing his job. Well, the president ain't doing their job. Well, this person ain't doing that job." Look, if we understand how the nation works and we take stuff seriously, it don't matter who the freak ain't doing their job. We, the people, control and own this country. Now, if somebody could go grab two treatises of government for me, I want to read some stuff for the people to help everybody to understand what we need to do. Because, guys, I'm telling you, we have seen thousands of victories with a small amount of people just by
I
learning.
do have a copy, Dave. I have one with
You
me.
got a copy? You got one, Leah?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, can you go to section 171, please?
Yes.
Now, guys, I need you to understand how the government is set up here. Because if we understand how the government is set up, I'm telling y'all, every single problem is fixed the exact same way. And some of us care more about one problem than another problem, right? Some of us,
Did you say 271?
171.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
171. There it
Some
is.
of us want to fight and get stuff right in one area with elections. Some of us want to get stuff right with people coming over the border. Some of us want to get stuff right with what they're doing with what seems like weather modification, right? And people think that, oh, FEMA did it. Oh, the Federal Bureau investigation, they did it, right? See, what's happening, guys, is that people are granting quote unquote so called authority to actors to do stuff to you. And then when they do stuff to you, they say, I don't know how in the world that can happen. We got to call them in and have a conversation with them. And maybe they'll tell us because we've been waiting for this information for 16 years. Right? See, guys, when someone tells you, when someone tells you that somebody is hurting you and destroying your land and destroying your peace and destroying your children and destroying your health, but we can't do anything about it because we created this agency, but it's independent agency. It functions by itself and nobody is his daddy. Guys, when somebody tells you that there's something created in America that ain't got no daddy, nobody created it, you know what that means? That means that in law, it doesn't exist. Now, a lot of people might laugh, but I told y'all this about legislative tribunals that took people's houses, kids, dogs, grandmas, shut down people's businesses. And I told y'all from 2018 to 2020 over and over and over and over again. And then we start putting government on notice around 2021 or so, 2022. The government started coming out at the highest levels and telling, yes, you are 100% right. These legislative tribunals are false. They are not courts. Gorsuch came out and said they're not courts. Kristen PTX, you might need to pull out of the space and then come back in. And guys, everybody stop and make sure to share this. We should have 10,000 people in here if we care about the nation, right? This should be the biggest space ever because ain't nobody gonna tell you what to do to fix this junk anywhere else, right? We keep going through this same situation where people are giving us the news. Sooner or later, we got to say, okay, screw the news. Let's fix America, right? We can't be people who just get cool with just being tossed around in an emotional roller coaster because things are happening. We have to stand up and use our power. And look, let me tell you. So since 2021, we were giving out all these notices to government. Trump did a notice, an executive order against CPS. Gorsuch came out recently and told everything we told him to tell in like 5 or 6 different notices. He came out on November 7th and told that the government was cheating against the people when it came to court cases, right? Or tribunal cases. He came out publicly and said, listen, 9 times out of 10, you're going to come into somebody who's not a real judge who works for an agency and and you're not going to see a real judge. You're not going to go to a real court. Now Kavanaugh is going out trying to tell in public statements. Guys, God is doing a new thing, but understand there was a small amount of us who were doing this and putting this information out, and we didn't have big Twitter space holders who were helping us. We didn't have any of the big names helping us. Thank God now we got Fisherman and Dana who've been fighting tooth and nail to get information out to teach people the law and the truth, and is making a change. People are excited about learning what it is that they can do. And government officials around America are hearing the people and changing. So, guys, we got to understand that there is value, even if you think you're smaller, one person, in just teaching. Fisherman and Dana opened up their platform for other people that they saw they could trust to teach the constitutions, and Fisherman and Dana make sure that they get taught all the time, right? So there is no excuse to say, I'm just a little guy or whatever. I don't know if I can make a difference. We started out, guys, with a very few people, and we didn't know exactly how or where God was going to take us, but we have thousands of wins, and we got government that will tell you we taught them, right? So that's unheard of. But I'm telling you, we can do way more and we can fix this stuff. So what I want to do is I want to go to 2 treatises of government, and I want you guys to hear from one of the forefathers of law, not forefathers of the nation, but forefathers of law who we got our law from, right? His name is John Locke. Now, the reason I need you to hear from him is because he explains how the creation of nations works. Now, he's a little bit different than us in America because he didn't live with the people being all powerful, right? But he knows what it's like to have a king and the common law and the will of the people. So when you hear this, you got to realize that we have forefathers who love God and the Bible enough to create nations where, or states, where what would happen is the states would have the people as all powerful and we would have no king. So we would come together and create a state, but we, the people, would keep our individual power, our rights, our strength. And all we would give up is some order, meaning that rather than being a judge of our own cases, and if you rob me, I blow your brains out and we have a duel, right? I set up for officers to be there and judges and people to see if somebody really robbed me. Fair due process of law with the maxims, right? I get all these different things. Now, guys, I need you to understand in our nation, the society was created where we have all political power and we grant servants and agents to handle our business so we don't have to be there. So when it comes to looking out for our welfare and health, they are granted authority. And here's where the biggest issue is. None of these people were granted authority, guys, to control your physical health, your children's sex, your your uh your money that's for retirement or money that's for emergency. Nobody granted them authority to give it to illegal people invading the nation. Nobody. Right? Nobody granted them authority to make tribunals where they could take your property, your wealth, anything like that. See, so when it comes to all of these issues, including North Carolina, they're sitting up there telling you, you can't do what God would want you to do. Jesus himself healed a man on the Sabbath. And they're telling you you can't go in and protect somebody who's dying, that little kid that's drowning. They don't want to go do it. They spent up our money unlawfully, and they got some nerve to say you can't go in and protect these little babies. Guys, we should look and say, not that we're going to do evil or hurt people because of this, but we should say what we're going to do is take back all of our power so we can give out justice in every situation where they're doing wrong, right? We need to start handing out justice like lollipops, for real, because this is outrageous. So, what we're going to do, Leah, do you have your 2 treatises of government? I want everybody to hear how nations are created so we can get some understanding.
Yes, I do. I have it.
Go ahead,
171.
Leah.
Okay. Secondly, political power is that power which every man having in the state of nature has given up into the
Okay,
hands
so
of
what I want y'all to
society.
understand is that every man individually has political power without any government, without anybody else, and you can fend for your darn self. Okay? This is a real way to live. So we got to know this exists so we understand that we're not held subject to some people we give power to. Go ahead, Leah.
And thereinto the governors, whom the society hath set over
Now,
itself with
there
this
are governors in some countries who don't have law like we have that they set a governor over themselves. We set a governor, guys, as our servant and trustee, and I'll prove this to you in a second. Go ahead, Leah.
okay, hath set over itself with this express or tacit trust, that it shall be employed for their good and the preservation of their
Wait,
property.
wait. Why do we put them here?
For our good and the preservation of our
Okay, now
property.
let me ask everybody. How many of y'all think that the government is not preserving people's property, lives, fortunes, and health right now with what FEMA is doing? Okay. How many of you guys have seen the legislature or the federal stand up and say FEMA needs to go to jail right now? How many of you guys have seen the legislature come out and say FEMA has no power over the American people? This is wrong. How many of you guys realize that they're not stepping up and telling us that FEMA has no power over us? Okay. How many of you guys are not seeing the federal legislature coming out and saying we'll give whatever amount of money we have to fix everything right now? How many of you guys are not happy about that foolishness? How many of you guys think that it is not good administration of our money, the services, the power of America right now when they leave all these people to freaking struggle? How many of y'all believe that? Okay, let's keep reading, y'all, because this is going to get heavy. Go ahead, Leah.
Now, this power, which every man has in the state of nature, and which he parts with to the society in all such cases where the society can secure him,
Wait.
is to
All
use such
such cases
means
where the society can what?
secure him.
Guys, how many of you believe that they are not securing the people of North Carolina right now? How many of y'all believe they didn't secure the people of Hawaii? Y'all remember them, right? See, people get displaced and then people start taking their freaking property and it becomes a place where government can sell it to somebody else. They could do some business with it, some rich people, right? Guys, we would be righteous to say, forget this bull. There's no reason for us to continue to allow this foolishness. Let's keep going.
Okay, so where was I here? Okay. In such cases where the society can secure him, is to use such means for the preservation of his own property as he thinks good and nature allows him, and to punish the breach of the law of nature in others,
Wait.
so as
He can punish what?
he can punish the breach of the law of nature in
So,
others.
guys, when God tells you to help the sick and the fatherless, the widows, those struggling, those who can't help themselves, and some idiot in some agency tells you no, you can't, is that not a breach of what God told us to do? That's a breach, y'all. That's somebody telling you not to give common love to your dang neighbor. Now just imagine it's your own kid strangling right now, coughing up water, screaming, about to go underwater, and begging for help. And they're telling you you can't help? Guys, when we come together in society, we agree to be there for each other. God tells you to give good to your enemy. Bless those who curse you. Curse you. Let's go ahead, Leah.
Okay. So it says that to punish the breach of the law of nature and others, so as, according to the best of his reason, may most conduce to the preservation of himself and the rest of
The
mankind.
preservation of what?
Of himself and the rest
The
of
rest of
mankind.
mankind. So if you got people in your community, you have the right to preserve them, right?
Yeah.
So can somebody show me anywhere in any constitution where it says it's okay to not to block people from preserving your community? Where does that exist? Why are we arguing over them telling us we can't do something? This is cause for us to take the whole nation back peacefully using the law. See, if we tell everybody right now, and I know y'all are pissed off, I know that millions, tens of millions are pissed off right now. They just don't know they could take the nation back. You know how our forefathers took the nation back from the king? By telling everybody they got a power to be free. Guys, we ain't got to worry about having the power to be free. We own the dang government. It belongs to us. We have the right to take it all back. I will prove it to you. Let me ask y'all a simple question. We're going to read on and then I'm going to prove it. How many of y'all believe? How many of y'all believe that the government right now is inadequate across the dang board? How many of y'all believe the government is inadequate, or do y'all believe they're helping you and taking care of everybody's business and giving our money away well? And they're doing such a great job at giving it away and making sure that illegals are able to vote and all that stuff. And don't forget, they're working in programs when they give away our money that they get paid to give away our money. So, in other words, they're making money off of squandering our money, but there's nowhere in the trust agreement that I've seen in the constitutions that say that they're allowed to just give our money away. Have y'all seen that? Where did y'all see it's okay for them to give away our money? Right? For them to say we don't have any money left when it's time for people to get helped in America, guys, that is some dirty stuff where you're making war against the people you promised to protect. I'm just asking y'all, do y'all think they're adequate? Are they doing a good job for us? Because what if the very fact that they're doing a bad job means that we can take all our power back and control the nation right now? What if the law said that? What if you can reclaim any government that gets out of hand like this? Guys, we don't have to keep dealing with HARP. We ain't got to keep dealing with vaccine forcing people trying to make our kids think they're boys when they're girls and girls when they're boys. We ain't got to keep worrying about none of this stuff, guys. If we just take back all our power and it's in the law how to do it, plain and simple, permission is there. All it needs to be is for y'all who pissed off right now to know the law says it. Because I tell you what, the main reason that people don't do things when stupid people in government collapse everything all around is because they don't realize they can do something because the government hid it. See, I can show you way back in the beginning of the nation how the government already started trying to hide the law from the people. Already started. All right, Leah, let's keep reading. This is going to get heavy, I promise. Jaron, if you could you go to Virginia Constitution, Declaration of Rights, Bill of Rights? I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm there.
so I think
All right.
I was at so as according to the best of his reason may most conduce to the preservation of himself and the rest of mankind, so that the end and measure of this power, when in every man's hands in the state of nature, being the preservation of all of his society, that is, all mankind in general, it can have no other end or measure when in the hands of the
When
magistrate,
your
but to
power is in
preserve.
the hand of government, if all the power when in your individual hands is there for you to protect yourself and humanity, not to attack humanity, but protect it, then how much more so, guys, when we give our power to government officials, should their hands be working on protecting us and our communities? I mean, this is simple, guys. Keep going, Leah.
Okay. When in the hands of the magistrate, but to preserve the members of that society in their lives, liberties, and
It said
possessions.
preserve
And
the
so,
members, right?
yeah, the members of that society in their lives, liberties, and possessions. And so cannot be an absolute arbitrary power over their lives and fortunes, which are as much as possible to be
So,
preserved.
so are they preserving the wealth of this nation? Are they preserving our elections?
No, I would
If you
no.
give money to somebody who would be called an illegal, how the freak is that legal? How are you preserving the people's wealth by squandering it on people who you set up to come into the nation? See, the Jesuits did that to Abraham Lincoln. They put a whole bunch of people inside of his army, and every time he turned his back, they would try to shoot him. Abraham Lincoln is actually quoted talking about how the Jesuits and Rome kept putting people in his place to shoot him. Trump don't realize the same dang thing happening to him. Okay, so let's go deeper. So they're supposed to be protecting our lives, liberty, and fortune. So when they let people, guys, when you get a HUD house, right? Do they check your background and make sure that you're a good person or decent or that you're not a killer or rapist? Do they want to know, guys? If you want to go get a gun right now, guys, let's just make this simple. If you want to go get a pistol right now, do they check to see if you got felonies and if you're a killer or a rapist or somebody on a list for being a violent criminal, guys? Somebody show me some love, yes or no, right? So, guys, if they do that for you as an American, why the freak are they letting people come into the nation who are killers, rapists, etc., at times and not telling us? And then giving them a $5,000 bank card, shipping them all around the nation, giving them houses and hotels and all this stuff. Guys, where is that? Where in the Constitution? Look, I ain't saying is it okay to help some people. I'm asking you, where in the Constitution did we tell them to take our money and give it out by the billions to people, not us?
Doesn't exist, Dave. Does not exist.
So how? How in the world are we complaining about it not being fair rather than saying it ain't in the freaking law? Now, that's another thing. People coming over the border and getting some nice, fancy automatic weapons like the cartels did in Arizona from Obama and Fast and the Furious. Y'all should be wondering where these cartel people are getting these high level weapons from, automatic weapons and all the fully automatic. Where are they getting those from? See, y'all, we got to stop just thinking that everything is a separate occurrence and that, oh, well, this agency did it. Oh, no, no, no. It was that agency. No. Guys, first of all, I need you to help me understand. Where in the Constitution do we see anything about any agency ruling the people? Oh, okay. So if it doesn't say
It's not written
Yeah,
anywhere.
if it don't talk about any agency ruling the people, why the freak is there any excuse for any agency to be talking to us? Let's just get this straight. We found out from the Supreme Court that the ATF was throwing people in prison unlawfully. We found out from the Supreme Court that OSHA didn't have the power to do what they did. We found out that the EPA didn't have the power to do what they did. We found out that other administrative tribunals are not even actually courts and they got hearing officers and can't make judgments from the Supreme Court Chief Justice himself. Are we not paying attention, guys? These people are doing stuff to us with no power. And we got government officials talking about, let me call this dumb agency up here so we can ask them why they're doing what they do. And if you watch closely, you'll find that some legislative body members have asked the question, where did the Bar Association get power to tell us anything? Where did this agency get the power to do this or that? Guys, some of the people are trying to tell you that things are being done wrong. But it's not until we realize, guys, that this is the wrong way and understand how government is made up that we're going to fix this. And we will fix it, by God, if y'all want to. All right, let's keep reading, and then we're going to read Virginia real quick so the people can hear.
Okay. Are you wanting me to finish this section? Where was I here? Okay. Which are as much as possible be preserved, but a power to make laws and annex such penalties to them as may tend to the preservation of the whole, by cutting off those parts and those only which are so corrupt that they threaten the sound and healthy, without which no severity is lawful.
Okay, guys. So there shouldn't be any corrupt entities in our land. So for the legislature or anybody else to say with the ATF, OSHA, this entity, FEMA, they're doing bad. We don't know why. Screw that. Screw that. Anything that's corrupt or interfering with the people's business can't be here. Period. Period. See, guys, we're making the wrong arguments. We're saying, why don't the legislature ask FEMA to stop? Why don't the legislature ask OSHA to stop? Why don't we wait for the courts to tell us that they can't attack us this way? No, they're doing wrong, guys, and we never gave them that authority. Jaron, if you could you please open up Virginia Constitution? And I want people to hear from the Bill of Rights how government really works.
Yeah, which one? Section 1 or 3 or 2?
Start off in the preamble.
Okay. Preamble, this is Virginia Constitution. Preamble, text, quote, a declaration of rights made by the good people of Virginia in the exercise of their sovereign powers, which rights do pertain to them and their posterity as the basis and foundation of government.
Okay, so we dictate, guys, what rights belong to us, not the government. So we got to realize what's really happening. Keep going.
Text of section 1, quote, that all men are by nature equally free and independent.
Okay, guys, we are equally free and independent, guys. Okay, so we have individual rights. We got power that belongs to us. It is not dependent upon government. Keep going, Jaron.
And have certain inherent rights, of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot, by any compact, deprive or divest their posterity.
So, guys,
Namely,
us as the lineage of our forefathers, there's no compact, no contract, no agreement that could be put together that could ever deprive us of our inherent rights.
but
So
Dave,
we have
what about the DC Corporation, Dave? What about that? Because I've heard a lot about the DC Corporation.
look, I don't give a darn if you want to say there's some corporation called DC. I don't give a darn if you want to say they floated your anus off the side of the freaking river and you're stuck in the water. They have no right to take any of our rights or power, ever. See, this is where we slip and mess up because we're letting people dictate to us what our rights can be, and then people who don't read well, who don't understand what the law says, tell us we have no remedy and that we're servants or slaves to the government. That junk is dumb. And we're proving it to you right here. It don't exist. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you the relationship. Who's in charge and who's not in charge in a second. Go ahead, Jaron.
Namely, the enjoyment of life and liberty.
Okay,
With
liberty is to get up and move when you need to. How the heck somebody gonna tell you as one of the people you can't get up and move? You can't get up and fly your helicopter over to pick up some people who dying. That's foolishness, y'all. Utter foolishness. Go ahead, Jaron.
with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and
Okay,
safety.
pursuing and obtaining happiness. You ain't happy if you can't protect the community. That's dumb. For somebody to tell you you have no authority, and please share this space out, guys. For somebody to tell you you have no power to protect your community, you can't look out for others. That's dumb. It's ignorant, guys. Go ahead, Jaron.
And Dave, like, because this comes from the Bible, this is God's intent. God's intent is for us to use what he gives us for his glory. And the best way that we do that is by serving other people and loving them. So if I had a helicopter, by God's grace, I was successful, I was just a pilot or whatever, and a disaster happens, I would argue that there's no, greater moral standard than me going, I have something that people need. I'm going to use it to directly help them, and no one can tell me I can't.
Amen. Amen. That's right. That's right. Keep going, Jaron. Tell us some more.
Section 2, quote, that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people.
Okay,
That
guys,
magis
what I'm going to need to happen, guys, is I need somebody to show me, since all power comes from us, where do we grant them power to tell us when we can't protect each other? Where is that? Where is it? Keep going, Jaron.
that magistrates are their trustees and servants, and
Okay,
at all times
what are
amenable to them.
magistrates? Magistrates are the government officials, y'all, all of them. What does it say, Jaron?
It says that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people, and that magistrates are the people's trustees and servants, and at
Okay,
all
guys,
times amenable
they
to
are
them.
just our trustees and servants. So when they want to spray stuff in the sky and you don't want them to, they're just a trustee and servant. When they want to take your kids and make them girls or girls boys, they're just trustees and servants. When they want to tell you you can't go outside or you got to lock down your business, they're just trustees and servants. In every situation where they're doing something wrong, when they say you can't go help people who are struggling and drowning and without the needs of life, they're just trustees and servants. Guys, we don't need to keep coming to them as, okay, guys, you're in power. We need to know why you won't let us. We need to know why, and we need to come to them and say, listen, where do we grant you authority to have something called a FEMA that you're funding that's telling us we can't protect ourselves? Where do we give you the power to make an entity that can attack our rights to have weapons? Where do we let you have an entity that says that you can lie to us? Show us where this is. If not, it needs to go right now, and you go. Go ahead, Jaron.
Finishing text of section 2 just says that the trustees and servants, and that they are at all times amenable to them.
They are amenable to us, guys, not us amenable to them. So if we're dealing in life and we see things that are wrong and we're begging them for permission to take care of each other, that's backwards. That's backwards. Now, guys, I asked you guys if the government is adequate right now. When they give away all your hard earned money to people of another nation so that when you have a struggle, you can't get help, that's a problem. That's a problem. All right, go ahead, Jaron.
Text of section 3, that government is or ought to be instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the people, nation, or community.
That's what it is to be, guys. Government is here to protect the nation, community, and the people. Go ahead, Jaron.
And if I don't mean to sidetrack, but I want to focus in on, I mean, there's obviously all these words that are important, but look at the phraseology. It says that government is or ought to be, which is a very subtle wrinkle of saying that there will be times when government is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. But that's also saying that government has a purpose. Government doesn't just exist. It's not just something that just came out of nothing. Government only exists for these specific purposes. And so if these specific purposes aren't being fulfilled and accomplished, then government is not doing its job. And that's the basis of change, which is what he's going to get at. So I'll keep reading. Um, of all the various modes and forms of government, that is best, which is
So the best
capable.
form of government is this, guys. And Leah, if you can forward to section 214 of Two Treatises of Government and be ready, I would ask if you could. Go ahead, Jaron.
That is best, which is capable of producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety, and
Okay.
is
Are they producing the greatest amount of happiness and safety when people are dying and you're watching? When people got to post stuff up all over online, are they giving you the greatest amount of happiness and safety when they're letting people run through the border by the millions? When they're giving them houses and stealing your money and running programs where they get paid off of it, are they making you safe and happy? Yes or no? When they got people raping people and they act like it's not happening, are they making you safe and happy? See, what they try to do is act like they don't have to pay attention to you because they think you don't know the difference. They think that you don't know that there's something you can do. They think that you don't know that you can flip the whole government and do something about it. Some of y'all might believe that you don't have the power to do something about it. I'm getting ready to show you in every case, in any government, we the people got the power. We created it, and we got the power to fix every single issue at will. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Let's read. Go ahead, Jaron.
says and is most effectually secured against the danger of maladministration.
Okay, guys, whichever one is most secure against the danger of maladministration. Now, y'all said it wasn't good administration when they give away your money to criminals and people who they don't check and people who we never told them to give our money to in mass. They've given our money to the Ukraine and got money sent back to them. All types of evil and wicked things have been done without our permission, guys. And we got to stop looking at it like, well, this is an agency doing this, and oh, that's another agency doing that. No, what's happening is that the government in America is allowing people they call agencies who we didn't put in place. They are not. Look, guys, if you don't see in our constitutions people call agency this, agency that, giving power from us to do something against us, they are foreign to us. Now, you might not believe that, but this is how you could have an agency as an adversarial party in a case against you because it ain't part of you. See, you don't sue your dang self. That don't make sense. You don't sue your foot. You don't sue your arm. So when somebody comes and they say, oh, well, This agency is suing you. Well, the agency is foreign to you. That's why they can sue you. Now, we the people didn't give them the power to sue you. So if government is funding these dumb anus agents, they're funding adversarial parties or enemies. I need y'all to think about that twice. Government is funding adversaries to the people. Government is telling adversaries who are foreign powers from us that they have the power to come after us and take our life, liberty, and property. They got a dumb anus agency called FEMA with a whole bunch of idiotic people telling you you can't save people. They got a big group of dumb anus people called FEMA that has given your money to people from lands that are not here lawfully, and then got the Negro nerve to tell your anus they ain't got no money left when it's time to help you. In other words, they done took your money and spent it. Where in the trust indenture, where in the constitutions does it say that you can take the money of Americans and give it to illegals? First of all, if somebody's illegal and breaking the law and you're giving them help, that is a crime. If people are coming into America and you're giving them $5,000, and the people who are coming in America that you're giving 5,000 and you're shipping them all over the place, if they're supposed to be coming to court, but you're helping them go to other places and giving them money, and they came in illegally, guys, that's unlawful. And there's no way somebody can make invasion lawful because the Constitution say they got to protect you against invasion. Well, what is it when all these people are coming in, raping people and doing all types of stuff? They don't vet a dang person. They don't look to see if these people are in joy and peace with America. It's wrong. And they stole tons of money. I'm gonna tell y'all, they did it through federal programs they're getting paid for. I promise you, these big hotels and these buildings they're building so that people can just come in. They're not doing it for free, guys. They never would. They don't do stuff for free. They already get a paycheck, guys, but they wouldn't do it just for that. If they don't get a ton of money, guys, for these programs, they ain't doing a dang thing. So when they funnel people into America and try to help them to be able to vote, and to do stuff and cause crime like they did in Venezuela, they're getting, I promise you, every time they're getting paid to do it. When you look at them taking kids with CPS, they get paid for every kid in the system. If you look at child support enforcement, they get paid for every child support order, not from the dad, but from the actual Social Security money of us. So our paycheck, if they give a $5,000 order to some dad or mom, we also got to pay another 5,000 out of our money, and it goes to the government. Yeah, they're splitting your dough up. That's what's happening. So in every one of these situations, these people are ripping you off. Now, if you think that you don't like this and you think that it is wrong and not good administration, then guys, we don't have to allow our workers who are our service and trustees be in office. Let me help you understand. We sent notice to Jim Jordan and other conservative legislative body members and told them to come out and tell the nation that we the people have the power to rewrite constitutions and get rid of everybody. Guess what? Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said, yeah, we the people actually have the right to fire everybody. They should fire everybody in government, every single one of us. That's what she said. We sent notice to Gorsuch himself and told him, hey, go ahead and tell the people they got the power to restore government and rewrite constitutions. Guess what Gorsuch did? Gorsuch came out on TV and said, we the people are the sovereigns, not the government, and they can get rid of everybody and redo the whole constitution whenever they feel like it. We the people are the sovereigns. This is real law. This is real truth. This is what really happened. Guys, we don't have to play games with people doing wrong. We didn't play game with a king doing wrong. Now we got servants who are telling us all these dang excuses and doing all this stuff. We're going to get on TV and just tell that the agency won't tell us. Why the freak are you giving money to these idiots? Why are you giving money to entities that are coming against the people? First of all, let's kill all these. Let's just stop all these agencies right now. Right now. No more talking. Defund them all immediately, right? We can go to Congress and let them know. In the meantime, we can let them know, first of all, that they need to get rid of every agency that we don't want them to deal with ever again. Right now. We can do it as a people. And in the meantime, we can assemble together and let everybody know that we have the power to remove the whole government at will. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you that you can do this in any government. Watch this. Jaron, keep reading, please.
Says here, and whenever,
Wait,
whenever,
Jaron, every 4 years?
gotta wait for that election, bro.
Every 2 years?
Whenever.
Only
So,
when the jury says so, we get these dumb attorneys talking about some. You got the jury box and the voting box. Shut your anus up. We got all power. You be quiet. Go
yeah.
ahead, Jaron.
And whenever any government, so
Any
not just,
government,
yeah,
any
not just
any
Virginia.
government, any
Yeah,
government. So
not
that's
just
state or
Virginia.
federal, right?
Right.
Any government. Whenever any government is found to be what, Jaron?
Shall be found inadequate.
Guys, I asked y'all if these idiots are inadequate. I asked y'all if these people who talking about you can't go save people are inadequate. Y'all said yeah. This is Virginia Constitution, y'all. Your forefathers telling you what we the people have the power to do with any government. If y'all want to do this, all we got to do is tell everybody. If we tell everybody and make a plan to assemble, guys, everybody who's watching this junk, who's pissed the freak off, can actually do something. Go ahead, Jaron.
Inadequate or contrary to these purposes.
Okay, if they're contrary to our happiness, if they're contrary to our safety, if they're contrary to making sure that our property and lives and liberty is protected, if they're giving away our freaking security and money, what can we do, Jaron?
A majority of the community hath an indubitable, inalienable, and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it.
Guys, we can reform, alter, or abolish all of it. We ain't got to wait for permission. And I wish you guys would see this as a remedy because a lot of times people say, well, David, I just don't know what it looks like. Just freaking read. The words give you insight on what you can do. Our forefathers did it when we got rid of a king. Now, guys, we don't belong to a king. We own the government. They are our service. We ain't doing nothing wrong by saying we don't want none of y'all no more. What about we just do a do-over, rewrite the constitutions if necessary to say what we needed to say so y'all can't do this no more and remove every single person in office. You can sit there and keep making excuses in office if you want to, but we gonna protect each other and fix stuff. So we'll just remove your anus if you're in the way. What about that? Right? Why do we keep giving them the chance to keep doing wrong rather than remedying all the issues? We got the power to fix all of it. We don't need them to do it. Go ahead, Jaron.
Well, it says you have the right to reform, alter, or abolish in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public weal.
So the people coming together based on the public good, we can decide how we want to redo things, reorganize, rewrite, reform, alter, abolish, whatever we freaking want to. So why are we dealing with something called a FEMA? Why are we allowing something called a FEMA to allow people to die? Why are we allowing state governments to sit there and as they're watching when people are dying? Why the freak are we allowing them to give our money away like they got the power to do so? We ain't got to give them a dang thing. They're not gods over our money. And I'm talking like this so y'all see, have a change of mind about what the law really says. Now, if you don't believe that we got the power to do this and this is right, we gonna go back to the forefather of law who our nation's laws are created from. John Locke. Leah, can you read section 214 for us?
Yes, just give me 2 seconds.
And everybody, please share this space out.
Okay,
Yes,
214.
ma'am.
First, that when such a single person or prince sets up his own arbitrary will in place of the
Okay,
laws,
guys.
which are the
The
will.
law, the fundamental law shows that we protect each other. How the freak does somebody call a freaking FEMA say you can't protect each other? The reason for coming together as a people was to protect each other. These dum-dums are saying that somebody gave them some power to tell us no. Go ahead, Leah.
Well, they're breaking the laws of nature
Yes.
by
Amen.
preventing. They are breaking the law of nature by preventing people from saving lives.
Yes.
So I'll continue. Sorry. So set up his own arbitrary will in place of the laws, which are the will of society, declared by the legislative. Then the legislative is changed, for that being in effect the legislative, whose rules and laws are put in execution and required to be obeyed.
Now, let me say
When other
this.
laws
In
are
our
set up,
constitutions, guys, we the people created. So the fundamental laws created by us, right? And the fundamental law tells that we put things together for our prosperity, for the protection of our communities and people. That's the first law. The stuff from the legislature is secondary. But go ahead, Leah.
okay, whose rules and laws are put in execution and required to be obeyed, when other laws are set up and other rules pretended and enforced,
Pretended.
then what
They got people telling you can't go save people. That's pretended law. Ain't nobody write that nowhere that the people can't help each other. That's freaking crazy. Go ahead, Leah.
Okay, so when and other rules pretended and enforced, then what the legislative constituted by
We
society
constituted as the
have
people in
enacted
our society. Go ahead.
have
Oh, no,
sorry
you're
have
good. I'm just
enacted.
saying we got to tell people in our nation is different than what would happen in England or somewhere else. We, the people, write the fundamental law to tell what's going to happen, period. So when they go against what we say that we can protect our own rights and property, in every state constitution, it says we got the power to protect our own privacy, rights, powers, life, liberty, etc. They don't get to tell us no. Keep going.
Okay, so it says constituted by the society have enacted. It is plain that the legislative is changed. Whoever introduces new laws not being thereunto authorized by the fundamental appointment of the society, or subverts the old,
Subverts the old. When
disowns
you
and
say we got a power to protect each other and our nation and our life and liberty, and they tell you no, they're subverting the fundamental law. Keep going.
okay, or subverts the old, disowns and overturns the power by which they were made, and so sets up a new legislative.
Okay, so when they go against our fundamental laws and say that they can do something other than what we said, they subvert the old and they throw off their own power they could be working by. Now, guys, we demanded that the Supreme Court tell you that we, the people, have all power, government is our servants, and they do not have this so-called sovereign immunity bullcrap. They're not sovereign. They don't rule over us. There is no immunity for any idiot that does anything that's not in the dang Constitution, period, including the president. The Supreme Court came out and said there is no immunity for Trump if he does stuff outside the Constitution. So it don't matter if it's Trump himself, he has no immunity. But if he does stuff that we tell him to do inside of the law, he got immunity. How the freak did somebody say you can't go protect people who dying and we call ourselves FEMA while the dumb anus freaking legislature sitting there behind back not saying anything. See, this is where it gets serious, guys. They're watching to see what we the people do, if we're going to do something about it and say something, or we're going to allow them to continue on. Because they say an agency is doing it. Screw that. Ain't no dang agency doing a dang thing. It's y'all. When you give some idiots some power and you say, yeah, you can run stuff, get your anus out of here. You don't run stuff if you don't follow what the freak the people tell you to do. You're an enemy. Okay? So this junk they're doing where they sit back and just look at what happens, nah, we not going to play this game. We going to put them on notice and let them know, y'all better fix this junk now or it's on you. Screw these other people who out here. We already know they don't have power, and we'll nullify everything. We'll remove everybody's power and change constitutions, and we'll prosecute all y'all because we really don't like very many of y'all, right? You're breaking the law, you going against the people, and you always act like you don't have power to figure it out. Okay, that's fine. We'll fix it. We the people can fix it. Period. And we got the authority. Go ahead. Please keep reading, Leah.
Okay, well, that ended section
I'm
214.
sorry.
Did
Can
you
you
want me
go
to go
to
to
two? Let me see. I want you to go down to go down to 221. And I need everybody to hear this.
Okay, 221. There is, for, secondly, another way whereby governments are dissolved, and that is when the legislative or the prince, either of them, act contrary to their trust.
Okay, when they act
First,
contrary to their trust, guys, the trust tells the legislature to protect the people's rights and property at all dang cost. So are they protecting your rights and property when they're allowing Koala and Biden to run around giving your money away? When they allow them to spend your money on people coming in the country unvetted, and there's no grant of authority to do that, are they doing right or are they doing wrong? See, guys, we got to be able to plainly tell if something is right or wrong so we stop having arguments over it's not fair. Well, it's supposed to be our turn. It's always our turn. It's we the people of America, guys. We're the ones that they swore to protect our property and rights, not some other people in another land. We're wasting our time arguing over what's not fair rather than dealing with what's unlawful. Go ahead, Leah.
First, the legislative acts against the trust reposed in them when they endeavor to invade the property of the subject and to make themselves or any part of the community masters or arbitrary disposers of the lives, liberties, or fortunes of the people.
Guys, when they say FEMA can come in and tell your anus what to do, the FBI can come in and just tell everybody what to do, ATF can come in and just do whatever the freak they want to and tell you what to do. In all those cases, guys, we never granted anybody authority to make masters over us. So what's the deal? If somebody's spraying freaking chemtrails over your homes, where do we tell people they can modify our weather or spray junk on top of us? Who gave permission? When did the people come together and say that these idiots can do what they do? And if they're spraying stuff over us, who came and gave us full disclosure of what they're doing and asked us, hey, are we the people, are y'all okay with us spraying you down? If they say some agency is doing it, where do we give them authority to tell an agency they can spray stuff on us? Can somebody help me, please? Because we do a lot of worrying about a lot of different things. We need to start saying, where do we give you authority to let somebody else do this or that? Okay, kill it tomorrow. If you don't kill it tomorrow, it's on you, and we don't want any of you for government anymore. And we'll prosecute everybody who we find out was involved with some stupid junk. What about that? Right? See, guys, a lot of shady stuff happens, like not knowing Epstein's list, and then they want to talk to you about Diddy. See, guys, don't be surprised that they're coming with all this information about Diddy now when they didn't give us all the information about Epstein, and then all this crazy stuff is happening and they're giving money away. Guys, understand that not telling people who raped people with Diddy is a crime against humanity. Hiding the criminals who did it. Guys, for them to say with Kennedy, 75 years, nobody can know who killed him. That's some bull. How long we gonna play the game, y'all? Y'all know it's wrong. Y'all know if y'all did wrong and the government wanted to take your stuff, they'll say who was involved. Oh, if you don't tell us who else was involved, we're gonna prosecute everybody. So then for themselves, they don't do it. When we know that people helped kill Kennedy, when we know that people did wrong inside of the FBI with Martin Luther King and helped him get killed, there's a court case that was won already showing that. How long we gonna keep playing this game? See, the problem is we got to the point we were desensitized and we stopped giving a freak about everybody else's problems. So they kill one person here, kill one person there, eavesdrop on one person here, go against somebody else there, write statutes to try to attack these people over here, try to take somebody else's land over here. Why the freak are we allowing these idiots to keep playing games with our stuff? I mean, they play games with our stuff and we keep giving these dummies money. If I couldn't balance the checkbook and every time you talk to me, I'm always backward, right? If I'm always backwards with money every single time you talk to me, are you gonna keep giving me money to go squander on dumb stuff? You gonna keep enabling me? Guys, we cannot allow people to mess up our nation. This is our nation by God. It belongs to us. We don't owe these people to serve us. They can take their anus home. We don't need them. Guys, y'all remember when the nation locked down and it was like nothing happened? Hey, y'all remember the nation locked down and we almost didn't notice? Right? They were arguing over trying to get back and we didn't give a freak. Guys, they hid stuff with Epstein. And now they're talking about, oh, Diddy, Diddy, Diddy. Guys, you don't think that they're trying to purposely keep your attention off of what they do wrong? We still got them not telling what happened with Diddy. They admitted now that the laptop was real, guys. So when the FBI had the laptop forever, you remember little kids and different people they say got raped. We don't know. People had guns that weren't supposed to have guns, they say. Now they say, oh, wait, shucks, the Supreme Court acknowledges the law now, so we can say Hunter might not have been so bad with the gun, right? But the problem is, guys, we see that there's stuff that was done wrong on Hunter's laptop, and the FBI lied as if it didn't exist. Y'all think that's okay? See, people come to me and say, Dave, they made a law that says the government can lie to you. Where did we give them authority to do that? Don't even come at me with that dumb stuff. I never gave anybody permission to lie to us. I don't give a freak what the dang legislature put on a piece of toilet paper and says is law. That matters not to me. Right? See, we got to stop giving these people the benefit of the doubt. And guys, God is mighty and God is powerful. God can remove these bad actors in government by the people with ease, and they'll be sitting with the tables flipped and they'll be getting prosecuted. We'll know everybody who Epstein was raping, and we'll know about all the kids. We'll know about everybody who was involved, and they'll be going to prison right in front of our face. They'll be returning all your kids, all the January 6ers unlawfully arrested. They'll be begging you, here, please take them back. Here, we'll just tell you all the cases. Guys, I ain't gonna say all y'all. Some of y'all don't believe this can happen. But if you got faith and you understand how things happen in history repeats itself. Our forefathers shut down a lot of bull on these here lands when they flipped things because they realized they had the power to correct them. Guys, we have the power to correct. I'm reading it to you from the law. Now, back in the day, there used to be wimpy, weak, dingy, dumb podcasters on Twitter that would say stupid stuff like, I just can't see how it can happen. I think if we ban Carrie Lake, maybe it'll change. or I just don't understand. Maybe if Mike Lindell tells us or a big name tells us, I can see, even though they don't talk to us about the law. Nah, guys, we got to stop letting idiotic people control our destiny. Right? You got to understand that some people were put here in podcast world to block us from using our remedies. If they ain't teaching you about what it says in the freaking law in black and white to help you, they're wasting your freaking time. And we ain't got all the time in the world, y'all, because you see they're attacking in every angle. See, guys, if there is a such thing of something called HARP, I bet you if we're controlling government, we'll know. I bet you we'll find out who's doing it then. Right? Guys, if we want to see Hillary go to prison before she dies, I bet you if we take it over, I bet you her anus go to prison. And I bet you every other person who did wrong with her clown anus goes to prison too. Guys, we don't have to keep begging. We don't have to keep begging, guys, and limiting our options and ourselves. All we got to do is look at what the law says, stand in our freaking role, and we can fix all of it. And I promise you, if you take it seriously, you're going to share it with so many people who pissed off right now, it's going to go nasty viral. This space will go so viral, it will blow your mind. The people will find out the freaking truth of what they can do, and they will take action because that's all they were waiting for. Sometimes you got to realize we're slowed down because you don't believe that God has prepared other people other than you. Right? You don't believe that other people are not just waiting for remedy on something to do. So I'm gonna read y'all we're gonna read some remedy to y'all. But there's people waiting for remedy. We're gonna let Leah read some remedy for us. Leah, can you read some more for us, please?
Yep, just tell me where to go.
We were on what, 220?
I finished 221.
Read
I
220.
think. 220.
The beginning of it, so I can hear
it. So section 220. In these and the like cases, when the government is
okay,
dissolved,
so when the government goes against what we're supposed to do, guys, now a lot of y'all are waiting for some magic thing to come like Trump get elected. Guys, let me help you understand something. I love the heck out of Trump, but I got to help y'all see there's no such thing of too big to rig. If it could be too big to rig in 2020, Trump would have did it, right? It ain't no such thing as too big to rig. That junk is dumb. Stop listening to dumb stuff. Don't believe it. It's a freaking hoax. Trump can't get enough votes to outdo a computer that can switch every vote. That junk is dumb. Every one you get can flip, but we don't have to allow them to have access to our elections anymore. Did you know that? And this is why in Arizona, y'all realize on a call, they said, the people can go back all the way to 2020 and fix everything if they want to. Yeah, they can. The attorney general in Arizona is on a dang call telling y'all we can go back and tear apart everything and fix it. The only thing that would stop you is fear or doubt that you have the power to fix it. Go ahead, Leah.
Okay, so let's see. In these and the like cases, when the government is dissolved, the people are at liberty.
The people are
to
at
provide
liberty.
For them.
You want to know about your liberty? You want to know what you can do? You want to know if you can fix stuff? We're at liberty to do what, Leah?
To provide for themselves by erecting a new legislative.
Hold on, wait.
Differing
so we
from
can
the
provide
other.
for ourselves. First of all, guys, we the people still have power and we belong to one another. We're members one of another. So we can take care of ourselves. We can provide for our own health, wealth, safety. We can pick each other up on freaking makeshift rafts if we want to. And these freaking idiots have no power to stop you. That's what's real. Keep going, please.
Okay, by erecting a new legislative differing from the
So,
others.
guys, we can remove the whole legislature, make a new one differing from the other on the spot without the other actors. Did y'all hear this? This is the guy who we learned to make our nation from. And he says, when these idiots in government are dumb, fighting against you, turning you over to other people, blocking your ability to have safety, you could create a whole new legislative without the old ones. At will. You can fire everybody. Go ahead. What else does it say?
It says by the change of persons or form or both,
Okay,
as
form is the
they shall
Constitution,
find.
y'all. You can change the Constitution. He says you can change all the persons, the form of government, or both to fix it when they do dumb stuff like they're doing right now. Don't that sound like Virginia, who say that you can abolish, reform, and alter all of it? Keep going.
As they shall find it most for their
As
safety
they
and
shall
good.
find it, us, as we shall find it most for our safety. Do y'all feel safe with these idiots in FEMA taking over? Do y'all feel safe after what they did to Hawaii? Y'all don't realize that these idiots are going to do the same thing in every state? They're going to just happen to find an emergency in every state if they're not causing it. Y'all don't think that they're going to keep doing it if we keep letting them do it to everybody else? That junk is dumb. If you think that government is not going to stop doing wrong if you keep letting them do it to one state at a time, you got to be crazy. All right, keep reading, Leah.
For the society can never, by the fault of another, lose the native and original right it has to preserve itself, which
It
can
has a
only
right
be
to do what?
done to preserve
See, guys, you
itself.
don't have to wait for them to preserve you when they're acting like dumb idiots and the whole legislature goes quiet. See, if they got to get money to keep the nation going, or they got to get money to give to the Ukraine, they don't get quiet. They just keep talking, and they want to spend the night up and pass stuff in the middle of the night. But when your anus is stuck, like the people in North Carolina, they just get silent. Radio silent. Where the freak are the legislative body members at, y'all? They're watching to see what we, the people of America, are going to do. Are we going to get away with this one too? We can do it again. Let's get some money back. Let's get a kickback from another program we do to help people. Right? So it says we can't lose our inherent right to preserve ourselves, guys. Now that doesn't just mean that you got to wait for them to preserve yourself and you got to get permission. That means we can preserve ourselves, and on top of preserving ourselves, guys, what we can actually do is not just look on and say they're getting in a bad situation, it looks kind of dangerous, it looks like they're not helping us. We can prevent our issues. We can say, you know what, we don't like their service at all, because if another bad thing happens, it's only going to destroy us. So what about we just go and prevent it before they even get close? Wouldn't that be a shocker for them, y'all? If everybody says, we don't want none of y'all no more, we starting over, and we know we got the power to do it, it's right here in the law. Any of y'all want to fight? Any of y'all want to go against what we're saying? You want to write an affidavit swearing that it says that you can block us? Because if you block us, we put you in prison for life, forever. Okay, you won't see outside another day. We're going to take all your assets. When they understand that, guys, that we're not playing with you, we're ready to charge you with going against humanity and the fundamental law. When they understand that, everybody knows, guys, it's no longer fair game for them anymore. Keep reading, Leah.
Which can only be done by a settled legislative and a fair and impartial execution of the laws made by it. But the state of mankind is not so miserable that they are not capable of using this
Whoa, whoa,
remedy
whoa. People
till
say
it
they
be
want a
too.
remedy. I want a remedy. I need remedy. What can we do for remedy? It says right here, you ain't got to take your anus to court. You ain't got to beg nobody. You can take your power back as the people right now. And this is a remedy. The only thing that can stop you from using this remedy is it being too late. It ain't too late now. But if your anus keeps sitting and begging clowns and believing idiots and trusting in some plan that ain't no plan, it ain't written nowhere, you gonna fall. Go ahead, Leah. What does it say?
To tell people they may provide for themselves by erecting a new legislative when by oppression, artifice, or being delivered over to a foreign power, their old one is gone, is only to tell them they may expect relief when it is too late, and the evil is past cure. This is in effect no more than to bid them first be slaves, and then to take care of their liberty, and when their chains are on, tell them they may act like free men. This, if barely so, is rather mockery than relief,
Guys, when
and
they
men
tell
can
you just
never.
wait and see what happens, keep waiting, 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 that's mockery, guys. That's not relief. Right? This wrong they're doing, just wait until we get there. Wait until we make a decision about what to do. Oh, we'll pray on it and get back with you. Screw that. They're letting people die. Babies are dying right now, and they're telling people they can't help. Are you serious? Guys, they don't make us wait for remedy, guys. We put this nation together through our forefathers, not the servants who serve us. We don't have to play with these people, guys. We could just change everything. We don't need to beg. Everybody, please share this space once again. All right, keep reading for us, please.
Okay. And men can never be secure from tyranny, if there be no means to escape it till they are perfectly under it. And therefore, it is that they have not only a right to get out of it, but to prevent
So you
it.
don't just have a right to get out of tyranny, guys, and people running your nation wrong and selling off your stuff and not protecting you. You don't just have a right to get out of it, guys. You also have a right to prevent it. Who's telling you this? See, guys, we're getting to a point where I know you got to be saying, man, this stuff is getting bad all across the land and people are doing stupid stuff. This is not cool. Guys, we could be flourishing as a nation right now. We don't have to suffer. These people shut down oil lines. These people shut down the border when it came to commerce or the ports where the trucks couldn't come pick up stuff and deliver. Guys, they purposely are wrecking the economy. And if you don't think so, you got to be crazy. And here's the thing, we don't have to wait for them to figure it out. We can figure it out. But it's a choice. Do we want to use what the law says for us or no? Go ahead, Leah. Give me some more.
Okay, well, that brought us to the end of section
Did,
220. So you want me to go to
did we
221?
do 221 or we did 222?
I thought it was 221. I can keep reading.
Let me see. Do 222. No, it was
Okay.
222 that said the trust reposed in them, right?
I think it was it 221 said that
Okay.
the trust was reposed in them.
Okay,
Yeah.
read 222 for me.
Okay. The reason why men enter into
Oh, here
society
it is.
is the
Okay,
preservation
the reason men enter into society, guys, is the preservation of what? Pay close attention, y'all.
of their property,
Mm-hmm.
and the end why they choose and authorize a legislative is that there may be laws made and rules set as guards and fences to the properties of all the members of society, to limit the power and moderate the dominion of every part and member of the society. For since it can never be supposed to be with the will of society that the legislative should have a power to destroy that which one designs to secure, by entering into society, and for which the people submitted themselves to the legislators of their own making, whenever the legislators endeavor to take away and destroy the property of the people, or to reduce them to slavery under arbitrary power, they put themselves into a state of war with the
They do
people,
what? They
who
do
are,
what?
they put themselves into a state of war with the
Guys, when
people.
they go against the power of you to protect your property or rights, they're making war with you. Read that one more time for us, please.
Okay. whenever the legislatures endeavor to take away and destroy the property of the people, or to reduce them to slavery under arbitrary power, they put themselves into a state of war with the people,
When you
who
make
are
something called
thereupon
FEMA and you say FEMA got power to control you, you make something called the FBI and say the FBI can run roughshod over Americans' rights. When you make an agency that says they can control your property or your liberty, guys, every single time in every single case, they have went against the people and made war with us. Every single time. Period. See, when they're sitting here saying that there's an agency doing wrong against the people and they can't understand why, they're automatically at war with the people because you're funding these idiots who are making war with the people. It doesn't get any more simple. Keep going, please.
okay, who are thereupon absolved from any further obedience, and are left to the common refuge, which God hath provided for all men against force and violence. Whensoever, therefore, the legislative shall transgress this fundamental rule of society, and either by ambition, fear,
See,
folly, or
they might be
corruption
fearful
endeavor.
of the FBI. They might be fearful of these dumb entities that's attacking us. And they say, well, guys, we really wish you give us stuff. Guys, we ain't got to sit there and beg anybody in the legislature when they're fearful of some dumb idiots in an agency. We don't have to deal with that bull. Keep going, Leah.
Okay, so, and either by ambition, fear, folly, or corruption endeavor to grasp themselves or put into the hands of any other an absolute power over the lives, liberties, and estates of the people. By this breach of trust, they forfeit the power of the power the people had put into their hands for quite contrary ends, and it devolves to the people, who have a right to resume their original liberty, and by the establishment of a new legislative, such as they shall think fit, provide for their own safety and security, which is the end for which they are in society.
Guys, we can go back to creating a whole new legislative to get rid of all the others who don't want to do what we need them to do. So when they put power in the hands of FEMA, power in the hands of the FBI, power in the hands of some other idiot, some dumb FISA court, some other foolishness, guys, we don't have to wait for them to fix the nation. This is the hoax. They want you to believe, oh, yeah, if we just wait until they figure it out, they'll get it under control. And maybe somewhere in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we'll have it right. We're working on it. You know, we're working on it, guys. Guys, we don't have to wait for that. We can create a whole new legislature, write a new constitution, remove everybody else, and protect our darn selves. If you want to go save the people in North Carolina, you got to realize that we don't have to bind ourselves to people who don't want to do their job. We don't have to deal with it. We can come together and assemble, create a whole new legislature and change the Constitution and say, look, none of these people can be here. You got to go. We're going to start over to protect ourselves. We're not giving you any money. We're not dealing with you. You are gone from power and we're going to take over. And guys, you got to understand right now is the perfect time. Why? Because everybody in America is pissed. Not everybody, most. Most people in America are freaking pissed and sick and tired of the bull. And rather than complaining, we could just fix it. Was that the end, dear ma'am?
It looks like it did go on a little
All
bit
right.
longer. It says, what I have said here concerning the legislative in general holds true also concerning the supreme executor, who, having a double trust put in him, both to have a part in the legislative and the supreme execution of the law, acts against both when he goes about to set up his own arbitrary will as the law of society. He acts also contrary to his trust when he either employs the force, treasure, and offices of the society to corrupt the representatives and gain them to his purposes, or openly pre-engages the electors and prescribes to their choice such whom he has, by solicitations, threats, promises, or
Guys,
otherwise. One,
threats, when they come and they say, look, if you don't vote this way, even though you didn't read the dang bill, and the requirement of being a good trustee is reading what you're signing somebody into. If you don't read the freaking bill, you can't make a good decision. So when these idiots come and say, look, they want us to do this bill, and we only have until midnight to read it, and none of us know what it says. Well, if none of y'all know what it says, that means none of you idiots wrote it. We only gave power to the legislature to write bills and laws. So who the freak down there writing where nobody knows what the freak was written? And if somebody is endeavoring to trick us and writing something and not getting the permission and will of the people, and it's against the people, then straight to jail. Everybody can go, right? We, the people, have to have faith in the power God gave us to preserve our darn selves. If you think, well, maybe I should just wait and see what happens, that is utterly stupid. They're showing you they don't give a freak. What's the worst that could happen? They can keep going the way they are? Screw that. We, the people, have the power to stand. Now, I'm going to need some of my Tennessee people to understand. If Jaron can go to Tennessee Constitution, I want to read from their Declaration of Rights, the first and second, because some of y'all going to be fearful and not want to do what your forefathers said. But some of your forefathers have drowned, right? Literally, recently drowned. And I want to speak from your forefathers who told you what you should do for liberty and stood up for your rights in America. Jaron, can you open up Tennessee Constitution for me, dear sir?
Yeah, I'm there.
Can you read number 1 and 2 of the Declaration, please?
This is Article 1, Tennessee Constitution, Section 1, text, quote, that all power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority.
This
And
is Tennessee. This is Tennessee, y'all, where the flood has happened. I need you to hear your forefathers speaking to you. Say it again, Jaron.
that all power is inherent in the people.
Did it say the government servants?
No, sir.
Keep going, Jaron.
And all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. For the advancement of those ends, they have at all times an unalienable and indefeasible right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such a manner as they
What?
may think proper.
Wait, Jared, did it say FEMA can bring their clown anus into Tennessee and stop you from helping people? Did it say that any government has the power to go against the people and block them and just run roughshod over them? Or did it say that people always have a power?
They got that power at all times. It's unalienable, can't be separated. It's indefeasible, can't be overcome. Right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper.
In other words, however the freak they feel like. So if we, the people, have reserved for ourselves the power to get rid of government however the freak we want to, why we worry? Jaron, some people, Jaron, are too afraid. And they feel like, well, the government got power. So maybe we shouldn't write for a new legislature, assemble together and say we're done with the bull and move on without these clowns. Some people say maybe we shouldn't do that. Jaron, can you read number 2 for me, please, dear sir?
Yes, sir. Tennessee Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, text, quote, that government being instituted for the common benefit, the doctrine of non-resistance
The
against
doctrine of
arbitrary,
what? The
the
doctrine of what, Jaron?
the doctrine of non-resistance.
Maybe we should just sit here and see what happens. Maybe they'll figure it out and love us. Maybe we should just listen to a couple of more space shows and see if if somebody's going to come up with an idea that's an attorney.
Hey,
Maybe we should wait until after the election.
Let
Maybe we
me.
shouldn't resist this bull because these other guys are powerful. Jaron, what does it say?
Well, so I also want to say that listening to podcasters and not taking action is a doctrine of non-resistance.
Yes.
And I believe one of the greatest deceptions that many Americans suffer from today, you've got people telling us things are bad, things are bad, things are bad, but you're not doing anything about it. You're just listening to people complaining. You're just listening to people say stuff's bad. You're not doing anything. That's a doctrine of non-resistance. You're
Amen.
literally watching it happen.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway,
You're watching them do wrong and you won't even stand up against it. That's pathetic. Jaron, keep reading. What does it say?
says the doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and
FEMA
oppression.
don't have a power to tell your aunties you can't save people. Nobody had the power to get FEMA to give all our money away. That's bull. It's arbitrary. It's garbage. Read it one more time for us, Jaron. Sorry for getting worked up, but I really get worked up.
No, you're good. It's like you can't fly your helicopter because we said so. Yeah. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good and happiness of mankind.
If you want to destroy the good and happiness of mankind, stay your anus right here. Don't do nothing. Shut the freak up. Don't share this space. Don't get people going so they know they can do something. Guys, we could have fixed this in 2020 by reforming government when they stole the elections, when they didn't follow proper procedure, when they let a dummy named um Facebook weird looking dude, what's his name?
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg give money in the states and he broke the freaking law. Article 14, section 18 in Arizona. He committed a freaking felony and we could have removed these people and everybody was waiting for Mike Lindell's symposium to show uh uh PCAPs, right? We got Carrie Lake talking about we're gonna do 1,000,000 cases. We got other people talking about they're gonna do cases and none of them can even get standing except for when we got Kerry standing. But other than that, all the big names went through doing the same thing over and over and over again, which did not include us using our power to remove these idiots. And they just tell us, well, wait until next time, we're gonna do better. Give me more money, and we gonna fight harder to win the election. Man, shut your dumb anus up. That's retarded. You gonna keep trying to spend money to win an election that you say yourself is illegitimate because they're changing stuff. How stupid do you want us to be? Now I'm not saying don't vote because maybe we could get the votes right. But gosh darn it, when you're trying to convince us that they're cheating on the votes, and then at the same time telling us we gonna vote harder, that's not a good solution. I'm sorry. That don't make sense. We need to fix the elections first, make them right and proper again, right? Make sure the government servants are following the law or remove them, and then it would be easy to have a real election. Now, don't tell me how hard it is to fix government and start over because our forefathers did it to win the nation when they had a king. So don't tell me that's not possible. That's too hard. We never see that before. You would be lying. We did see it before, right? And we don't have a king like we did. It's easier for us to deal with fixing this thing if we want to. We can spread information 1,000,000 times faster than our forefathers. We don't even have to get on a horse to go down the street. We literally can email and text message people immediately and give them this space and tell them exactly what to do. So here's what I'm offering, guys. I shut down my class tonight because I wanted to bring the truth to the people. I'm gonna give y'all some mics in a second. It is my will to do a notice to government to let them know that we want them to get rid of all these agencies and get them out the way, or we want to remove them. All I ask, if you wish to do the right thing and to use your remedies that your forefathers said in the law, I just ask that you share the information and you let me know, do y'all want to do a notice with us? Now, when we did a notice to the Supreme Court, we told the justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Gorsuch, to come out and tell that we the people are sovereign. Y'all saw him on video doing it. We told him we told the Supreme Court there's no sovereign immunity. They said there was no sovereign immunity, 9-0 against these agencies. Right now, FEMA is an agency trying to interfere with your life. We sent stuff to the federal legislature telling them to come out and tell that we, the people, have all political power. We can remove government at will. Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said we got the power to remove them at will. Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch came out and said we, the people, can rewrite the constitutions at will. This is real life stuff. We're not trying to play with the law, guys. We've studied, we've been precise, and we can show you video where we told y'all before we made the ATF get their anus whooped that we were going to do it. Before the Supreme Court start taking cases, we told you we were going to make them take cases. We told you we were going to go against sovereign immunity and had y'all help us. And we did thousands upon thousands of notices, which never happened in government before, and we got victory, and they're coming out telling what we told them to say. Guys, this is our freaking nation. Are you going to be weak, a freaking wimpy chip? And if you want to, that's okay. Just take your anus home and freaking hide up under your blankie and turn the freaking heat on and get cozy. But for everybody else who want to stand up and stop this stuff, if y'all want me to do a notice, we can have a notice. I'll get it done if the Lord wills by tonight or first thing in the morning. By tomorrow, we'll ask one of our strong fighters if he can put together a job form so we can flood the government with notices, letting it know that it's the intention and will of the people to remove everybody for interfering with our power. And I'll show the law in the notice that tells them we can do this. I'll give it to Jim Jordan, by God, through our people. We'll give it to Marjorie Taylor Greene, we'll give it to Thomas Massey, we'll give it to the Supreme Court. And guys, we ain't gotta wait or beg nobody to let our freaking people, our families in North Carolina and in Tennessee and in Georgia, we ain't gotta beg nobody to do us right. We ain't gotta beg nobody to fix elections, guys. Elections are coming up soon. Let's let these clowns know that we want to nullify everything they do and get rid of all of them all together and start over by our power. I'll put together a notice if y'all want me to. Just tell me. I'll do it right away. And we can go at this situation with everything we got. And guys, we can shut the whole thing down. We ain't got to play around. We ain't got to beg. We ain't got to. Guys, I showed you in the law where we have this as our right and power. I know y'all sick of this bull. And guys, I trust that God has put you here in a time such as this to be fire, to restore the nation to what it's supposed to be. A lot of you guys have given up money, giving up your livelihood. You've seen your kids suffer because of these dumb shots that it just came out that they do cause autism. Y'all done seen all this smoke, all this fire that came against us, and now God is giving you a chance to take back over. It's happened already in history. It is nothing for us to come together and do what God already gave us as a power and authority to do, to take everything back. But you got to believe. You got to believe that you got power like your forefathers had power. And I'm going to tell you, you got the power of the internet. So your forefathers were struggling. They were riding around on a dang donkey like 2.5 miles per hour, right? Trying to get the word out to people, meeting in taverns, right? Meeting in barns late at night, afraid to get caught. Guys, we can share stuff in a drop of a hat, guys. We can have stuff all over America. Why are we playing? Why are we waiting? Why are we doubting? God has made you powerful for a time such as this. You give a freak about the law. Why? Because something has happened with you that made you see with clarity that something ain't right. And you have taken your own part and done what is necessary to be a freaking beast and to be a freaking monster when it comes to shutting down foolishness. You were created for this time, and you can do big and powerful things. We ain't win in thousands of situations because we were something great. It's because we trusted and took massive action. This is your nation, and can't nobody do it like you. So I'm saying, if y'all want me to do this, I'll drop everything. I'll get the notices together. I'll write up everything. I'll try to get with our team and see if we can have a job form ready by tomorrow or Monday morning at the latest, if the Lord wills. And we'll get all you guys to sign it. And I want you guys to give this video, this space to everybody so that everybody can know that we want to come together and retake the nation, and that this space shows the exact law that says that you can do it. Multiple laws, multiple forefathers in law, multiple scholars that say you got the right to do this right now. Your state constitutions say you got the power to do this right now. John Locke said, this is a remedy except for if you wait till it's too late. Why the freak we gonna wait for these clowns? God has given us a chance to take the victory. Now, don't look and get fearful and say, oh my gosh, but they got power. Yeah, they had power and guns when they told us they were going to shut down our businesses, and we opened up hundreds of entities and saw the cops do the walk of shame away from the entities, couldn't shut us down. Yeah, they had guns. We didn't care. We used the law. When we shut down lockdowns and mandates across the nation, we didn't give a freak about somebody's guns. We got all political power. We don't have time to play. Guys, most people in government who've been doing you wrong only do it because they don't know the law says what it says. But when you show them in plain English, in writing, what the law says, they start saying, wait, I don't want to be part of these other people. When they see the nation coming together and saying we got all power to help each other and build each other, they ain't going to want to be on the other side.
Hey, Dave.
It's your choice. It's your choice.
Dave.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I want to provide people additional encouragement and specifics. I am directly involved in multiple federal lawsuits against many people in government, and they are not responding. They don't answer. When you go against them in precision, showing the law, and you swear under penalty of perjury, they don't want to answer. And it's not just me, it's multiple other people who are not me who are doing this. And as this is happening, I'm learning, like I asked Dave this afternoon, I was like, why aren't they answering? Why aren't they responding? Why are literally none of them saying anything? And, I'll let him talk about it if he wants, but um, when you use the truth and you go directly at bad government, it breaks. It absolutely breaks because that's the law. And that's what we've been trained out of. That's what's been taught out of us. That's what's been educated out of us is this spirit of freedom, this understanding of the law and truth, and we've separated it from something that's actually true. Like, we will think an idea is true. You can read words on paper and we're like, okay, it does say that, but then that's not what happens. It's what we tell ourselves. And that's a lie straight from the pit of hell. I believe it's actually one of the most dominating and controlling lies that we have. And that is that the words in the constitutions don't mean anything. That's the lie. The truth is, when you take those simple, plainly written words, you swear to them, and you go directly at the people in government who are hurting you, they break. They absolutely break. They get to the position where they do not want to even answer a basic question. I'm literally seeing I'm literally seeing that in real life, in real time, in multiple districts, multiple different government agencies. And I'll say one last thing. God has absolutely given Dave wisdom to teach the fundamental law in a plain way with precision. And I'm going to tell you, if you do not have the courage to stand on truth, you are not going to get the remedy. If you are too cowardly to not take action, nothing will change. If, however, you see the wickedness and you're reminded of the scripture that says, be not overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. If you see that and you recognize that history is full of opportunities and you are now standing in one where you have to tell the truth, stand and take action against evil, I'm telling you, I see God working. I've seen him teach through Dave Jose the basics, the fundamentals. I've seen government break using this guy's throwaway comments. This guy will say stuff like it's nothing, but if you use it, it's like, holy crap, these people don't want to touch this stuff. And it's fire, it's nuclear power. They can't touch it because it's the law. I just really want to appeal to your understanding of what truth is, because it's been trained out of us that we can't do anything about our problems, that we should just wait and wait for everybody else to take action. That's a hoax. That's a lie. That's stupid. It's cowardice. This is the time for us to, in peace, in love, go directly at these vicious, wicked, dumb, negligent, incompetent government actors and leave them no quarter. Go directly at them. So, Dave, my vote is that you absolutely do the notice and let me know whatever I need to do to help. And I'll be praying for you, brother.
All right, then. So that's what we will do. We will get that action in. What I'm going to do now is let you guys also take some mics, and thank you for that, Jaron. Jackie is going to control the space. I think we had Greg, Leah, Celestial, Danette, Julio, then Pilsner. So Greg, Celestial, Leah, Danette, Julio, then Pilsner. So you could control the mics if you can, Jackie. But let's get Greg up first, and then we're gonna go back across the line. Celestial, Leah, Danette, Julio, then Pilsner.
Okay, I'll do my best to keep in that order.
Great. Dave, let me start by thanking you. You laid it out beautifully. You've educated us all. Many on this call have been on numerous calls with you. So we know the basis of the law. We know what this is the right thing to do. This is the right time to do it. The government has just gone so rogue. I think many of them know that this is coming. So they have taken more actions to try to secure more assets for themselves. Who knows what they're doing? But the sooner we get these notices out, the sooner we put them on notice. And clearly, they don't have especially their representation, their attorneys, they don't have the guts to respond. So, Jaron, I'm not surprised they're not responding to you. They're not going to respond to us either, but that even gives us all the more power. So, the sooner we can get this done, and anything I can do to help, I'm here. Thank you so much. And I'm sure I speak for everyone else, many that may not even get on and speak, but we thank you so much, and we're praying for you. I'm here to do whatever you need us to do. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Greg. And definitely, I'm in, and I'm going to get on it if the Lord lets me live. I just want to say, guys, I told people a long time ago in some of my first webinars and my first teachings that when you know the truth and you start hitting the government with precise information and wisdom and knowledge that you can prove in writing, none of this fake stuff where you're guessing, where you're saying, I think this is what's happening, or they're doing this to us, but you can't prove it from anywhere. When you bring the law and you show it to them in great detail and clarity, they shut the freak up. And so what Jaron is saying is, oh my gosh, how in the world is this dude, how is this dude who drives a tractor with 30-inch wheels on there, leaning to the side, listening to Tupac? How the heck is this tractor boy, Jaron, able to know the law so well? Who's feeding him our information? We better be careful with what we say. Get quiet. So attorneys tell you, and I hope y'all understand this, when you get your anus caught in trouble, shut the freak up, right? So when people get notices from other people that don't say what the law says, they say, you sovereign citizen, you dummy, you idiot. When people start finding the real law and they go look up what you say and it's really there, they start saying, and it don't look like these other groups making up stuff, they start saying, you better shut up. Don't say nothing back. Be quiet. Because they realize the lawyers are saying, say something else, he'll have you by something that you don't want him to have you by. So stop. And this is why they get silent. Bad government actors and attorneys are some of the biggest mouth people and most haughty people in the world. Look at Travis for NH. When we told him, hey, keep talking, we gonna use the law. We gonna get your anus caught up. He didn't realize he was talking about this sovereign immunity and foolishness. I told him, and give me 60 to 90 days. I bet you the Supreme Court tell you you're a liar and you shut your freaking mouth. He was talking all this trash, making comments, bringing his attorney friends. And then about 60 days hit. The Supreme Court said what we said. He saw it and shut the freak up. I haven't heard him speak again. So he was talking junk every day, y'all. And then he don't talk junk no more. See, that's what happens when you come with the real law. They just never expect you to know. And this is why we're so serious about precision, real law that could be proved. All right, who was next? We had Greg, then was it Celestial, then Leah, then
Then I think Danette after that, maybe.
Danette, then Pilsner.
Yep.
Oh, Julio, then Pilsner.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so who's next right now?
You.
Okie dokie. Well, here I go. God bless us. Dave, this is a wonderful space. This is a needed space. You're giving us your time. We're all here because we care for other people. We do not simply just care about ourselves. Other people matter. Their lives matter. What's happening over there with the bodies laying on the ground and no one picking them up, and then the people that are supposed to go help, the government is supposed to go help those in need in this disaster, they're not going. And then they're stopping those who want to volunteer to go themselves. They're stopping them from going. So when we see every single thing, we put all the evidence together, we're going to have proof. We see that in every arena, in every aspect, government is failing us. They are not following the law. They are breaking it. There is the law in the contract, our constitutions. They are not doing what is mandatory. They are not doing it, and they're doing what is prohibitory. For example, separation of powers. They're not taking care of disaster victims. They're calling in people from all over the nation to come here. They got rid of our factories. They get rid of our jobs, or they import people to give them our jobs. They sell our land to China, to other nations. They have they got rid of the pipeline. They use agencies to go around what they cannot do directly, attack our individual inherent rights, and they attack them through the agencies. And even though the Justice Gorsuch and the rest, they have already declared that they already put a tombstone on Chevron deference, there's still the sneaky little agencies are pretending that, oh, that doesn't apply to us. So all of these things, everything, there's an invasion in our country. There's poison in our food. So when we put all of that evidence together, what do we, the people, realize? We realize they want us dead. They want us dead. They're giving our money away to other nations, but not leaving it without right to do it. And this is for us, for when we need help. Right now, people in this disaster, they need help. Where is that help? They have dissolved their seats. When they do anything that's outside of the law of the contract, they dissolve themselves. Like the seat has the authority that we granted it, and they sit properly in those seats to be energized by that authority. And as long as they are lawful, obeying the law and the contract, all is well. The minute they overreach, the minute they do something they should not do, or the minute they fail to do something they should and are obligated to do, duty bound to do, they dissolve themselves. They removed and unplugged themselves from that authority, from that position. They are no longer supposed to be there. And if the people would just understand how easy it is to save each other, to save our nations, we would not need to cry. We would not need to suffer. So please, it is worth looking into what Dave is teaching us. Jaron is a magnificent student, and I thank God that he's teaching as well. So please, everyone, come and see and come and do the thing that is effective, the thing that does work. It works. We are going to save our nation. It is time. God has set it in place for us. He is the captain of hosts. We believe in him. We trust in him. Christians, if you trust God, show it. Show that you care for others. He gave us the commandment to love him complete with our entire beings. He gave us the commandment to love each other as ourselves. Those people out there, those moms, dads, children, it is like it's our own, and we're next. We're not safe from the butcher block. We're next. They want to take complete and total control of the world. We're not going to let it happen. God is not going to let it happen. So let's do the so easy thing. We don't have to pick up a single stone or a stick. This is so simple. God has made it so easy for us. But now he's seeing who's going to trust him. Are you going to trust him? I am trusting him. God bless us. God save our nation. One nation under God.
Amen, Celestial. Amen. I think Leah is next.
Yeah, I just wanted to, when we were kind of beginning this space and talking about the preventing of the people to help, I was reminded of Acts chapter 5, verse 29, when Peter and the other apostles said we ought to obey God rather than man. And, going against what God wants us to do as Christians, which is to love our neighbors. And, like we're called to do that by God. So when a man or someone is trying to enforce a law created by mankind, it's one that I don't, you know, we shouldn't be obliging to as Christians, because it's wrong. It's morally wrong. Any man-made law that's morally wrong, we are not. I don't know why we allow that to sway our actions. And it even went back into the 2020 days when, preventing the gathering of the saints. I remember asking my Bible study group, how long are we gonna let this government that's made by man allow us to, God tells us we need to be assembling together. We need community. So why is this rule created by men coming in and being followed and regarded and respected above that of the Lord's? And I guess I could probably go on forever about that, so I'll just leave that right there. But that's just what comes to mind whenever I think of anybody who's preventing me from doing the right thing that I'm called to do by God.
By God, that's absolutely right. I always, just to piggyback on that, and a lot of people use this scripture, and sometimes maybe they use a little bit willy nilly, but when it says that we that are in the church, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, who strengthens me. If we just claim that and go with that and do what we're supposed to do by taking care of our neighbor and by standing on truth, um, I'll just say a quote that Jaron has said for the last 4 years: timber comes. And I think we're all ready for timber. We're gonna start chopping down. We are chopping down. We're gonna keep chopping down. So I think that Julio was next, maybe, and then Danette.
Yeah, hi. Just want to say, hot topic. And Dave, you're on point 100%. I think a lot of people are behind you, even that didn't get a chance to listen to this yet. Based on, what initially was being said about FEMA not allowing, people to help their neighbors, it kind of brought me back to a couple of things. As it's said in the Bible, first of all is Ephesians 6:12, where it says Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And taking that into account and looking at what's happened, and then you look at Matthew 22, where Jesus is asked, what's the most important commandment? And Jesus says, in number 39, after loving the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, second is equally important, is love your neighbor as yourself. So this could very well be part of the spiritual attack of the evil one and the forces that are driving it to violate that and keep people from helping their neighbor. And it just seems like it's absolutely wrong. It's wrong on multiple levels, and that's pretty much it. That was my thought listening to this, and I pray that God be with all those suffering and give us His hand of protection and try to correct this. Thank you.
Amen. I think, Danette, we've got you and then Pilsner.
Hi. David, you had said early on in the space that we need to be very careful and check sources because people put things out there to make us look foolish. So I went to the FEMA website and I'm going to read something, but it will sound like a cheating spouse who says, "Are you going to believe your own eyes or what I tell you?" It says a Hurricane Helene rumor response. They've already got a rumor response page on the FEMA website. Rumor: FEMA is confiscating donations for survivors. And they say rumors about FEMA turning away donations, stopping trucks or vehicles with donations, confiscating and seizing supplies, often spread after a disaster. They are all false. FEMA does not take donations and or food from survivors or
Wait,
voluntary.
was the
I know
claim that they take donations
this
or
is
the
the
claim that they stop trucks?
FEMA website. I will post the link. I just want to show that the servants are running game. FEMA does not take donations and or food from survivors or voluntary organizations. Donations of food, water, and other goods are handled by voluntary agencies who specialize in storing, sorting, cleaning, and distributing donated items. FEMA does not conduct vehicle stops or handle road closures with armed guards. Those are done by local law enforcement. It's such a word salad. It just, are you going to believe your eyes or what I tell you? So they're not saying that the FEMA have guns, but they're going to use people with guns. It's preposterous.
But that doesn't make sense though, because notice what they're. So the issue was is people said they were telling people if you bring your helicopter, you go to
Yep.
jail. That ain't got nothing to do with donations. That got something to do with stopping people from saving
Yes.
people.
Yeah, you can just tell that a person from a private membership association called the Bar Association wrote it. So it's just nutty. And like say for Florida, I'm going to a local newspaper online. Commercial trash haulers frustrated over lack of options to take hurricane debris. Now we've had the Hurricane Helene, and in Pinellas County, the landfill stopped taking storm-related debris so it doesn't break FEMA regulations. So now we've got another storm coming to Florida, and some people are saying it could hit as a category 3, and you've got debris and garbage all over Florida because FEMA is not allowing it to go to landfills. It's just the craziest stuff. And there's somebody on the space here who was writing that they live in Eastern North Carolina, but they know people, they have family in Western Carolina, and they're seeing it happen on the ground as we go. And yet the servants are lying. And we have proof. We can go to the website right now, and they're making stuff up so they look good, and they're putting it in writing, and it's so broad and diffusely spread out, but they had to create a rumor response page, and I just find it so disgusting.
See, the thing is we just because they do stupid stuff, we don't even need to give them a chance to even be able to have the ability to interfere. The thing is, they don't get their job done. They're interfering with the people's business. They gave away the people's money out of their own mouth. So we ain't got time for the bull. See, the thing is, they love to give us a million different things to be concerned about. I'm like, screw it all. We'll just change everything, and then you won't do this no more. And we don't give a freak about your excuses. We'll investigate after we fix it. We'll investigate and find out which one of you did what. And if you ain't a slide, you go to prison. So just play. Because if you're lying when you're doing stuff against the people, it is an attack and a transgression against the people of the highest degree. So you play if you want to. We're not playing the game no more, though. We're not going to go try to figure out if you're telling the truth about every little dumb thing you say. We realize you're doing things that's wrong. You said you did things that's wrong. That's enough for us.
Right. And that, they're saying that the FEMA employees are getting the hotel rooms. Well, what about the survivors? No place for them?
Uh-huh.
They've
Yes.
shown their hand. We're done.
Yeah, it's freaking foolishness. The thing is, we played along with people's stupidity for too much time. Now, let's just fix everything and then we'll sort out everything else. We can do a lot better than they can do. So we'll figure out how to make it right. But thank you for that, Danette. Who was next? I think we got Julio,
Pilsner.
then Danette. It was Pills.
Yeah, Julio went. Pilsner, I think, is next, and then Sleepy Self, I think, is after him.
Pilsner, yeah, Sleepy, then Sandy.
And Sandy.
Well, I want to thank you, Dave. Like you kind of gave a lot of information out. You went through John Locke. It was a bit of a webinar. Like those of you who showed up, you got a real treat here. I'm just saying, you got and Dave's got a lot of free stuff he gives out. But he just gave out some really good knowledge. And Jaron Jackson, he puts out a lot of great stuff too, free on Rumble. Go check him out. But I just wanted to explain why I am in this group. I received my remedy before I ever knew Dave, like a year and a month before he did what he did. No, I mean, a year and a month after he did what he did, I was not fired from my job because of the OSHA mandate knockdown notice that he did with, and his students. And I just like so when so he's already given me remedy, and I didn't know who he was. And there's so many people who probably didn't get to meet you or find out who you were, who also would be grateful. But I was grateful by God to run into you. And all the other things that you've done, where you sent notices and you've helped people across the nation because you didn't put your horrifying situation with CPS first. And look, I just want people to understand this man puts in a lot of time. He's not perfect, but he brings out the law and instructs our servants with precision, and instructs people who become masters like Riley. Like, come on, right? Riley Flack. He comes like his videos. You can, can you? I wish I could do what he does. I don't. He's in the body of Christ and he's doing what he's doing. And you got Jaron Jackson. He's driving his tractor and he's teaching everybody all about this stuff. He's like, he'll just sit down for an hour live, uncut, and just write a notice, or he'll just show you how, grand juries work. He'll spend 5 days in a row doing that, and it's beautiful to see. And so I just wanted to come up and say I'm really thankful for that's not Thank God Thursday, but I'm just thankful I didn't get to say it on Thursday. I'm really thankful for people who are sticking to this and listening to what but like God has given you, Dave. And none of us are perfect. I'm just saying that, but there is. I didn't get this information, but you did. So what am I going to do? What am I going to not listen? No, I'm going to listen. I'm going to be very careful and listen. And I'd ask people, please do that. If you don't like people who drive tractors, okay, don't listen to Jaron. Listen to Dave Jose. You don't like ashy elbows? Okay, don't listen to Dave Jose. Listen to Jaron Jackson. You got multiple choices here. You can listen to Summer Cook. You can, there's a broad diffusion of knowledge that is going out here, and let's keep it going. And God willing, everybody who's up here keeps doing it. I'm just really thankful. So I wanted to land it there.
Pilsner, you do a great job too. I'm just saying. I mean, you're going in on so many other channels on Telegram and on X, and you're teaching right along with everybody else. So I think you're doing a fantastic job. I know that I love learning from you also. So kudos to you too. So I think we had Sleepy next.
Well, it's certainly an honor to be on stage, and thank you for the speaking spot with Jaron. High level of intellect and an incredible learner, incredible depth of the, just God-fearing men that understand the scriptures to base all this on is incredibly important, and you guys have that. You're, head and shoulders above me in it. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read that whole book, but I want to help. So I understand a lot of it. I've been doing it for like 40 years, like I've told you guys before, and involved in this. And this does work, and it will work. So people, please trust in this system. It's going to work, and we are going to make a huge difference. It only takes a small percentage of true patriots to maintain our republic. And this is a really good path. And it's funny because I've been trying to hit up my bigger accounts. A lot of accounts follow me that have huge numbers, million followers, 500,000 followers, and I can't convince. I don't want to convince, but I can't get them to migrate over. So I understand that we're upping. We're fighting a little bit of a battle in regards to getting the mass, but let's keep going, and it's going to come together. And I was wondering, David, did you guys hear him talk about the sovereign in his speech today? It was spectacular. And he said it in a general wide form. He didn't say you are the sovereign in regards to the people, but he said the sovereign. Do you guys hear that in the speech today? He said it. Trump said it.
No, I didn't hear it, and I appreciate the kind words about me. Obviously, God gets the glory. It's His wisdom. I can't say enough about my teacher, Dave. I mean, I'll just be straight. People with bigger accounts. So let me just shoot straight. I had a bigger account um, than Dave did, like a bigger social media platform and a bigger social media reach than he did, even though that they've killed several of his accounts. Um, whenever I started streaming, I had a YouTube account of, tens of thousands. I had, really big reach, bigger than I ever thought I ever would have. And none of that means anything, and none of it meant anything because I had no remedy. I had none. And whenever bad things happen to me in real life, I broke. By God, he punched me in the face and broke me and took me low. And then he introduced me. God brought me Dave into my life through Clint Kyler, or Keeler. I'm sorry, I said that wrong, Clint. But Clint introduced me to Dave by bringing Dave to one of my Telegram chats. And I'll tell you why it's difficult for you to get big names to buy into it, or to believe it or whatever. I'll tell you what it is, because it destroys them. Once you get remedy and once you learn the truth, you're not going to care about personality or someone's hot take on a political issue. I was politics 24/7. I ran for office 3 times and I got beat. That's how stubborn I am. And that's how many times God will lovingly tell me to stop doing something stupid. And finally, he just punched me in the face and he got me in a position of a really bad spot in the law. And then, like I said, I repented, got low, was humble, and God brought me Dave in the form of a teacher. And I sit at his feet. I absolutely do. Why? Because one, he taught me the law, but two, it's the little things that I don't think that most people respect or understand about what Dave has done. When they took his kids, the guy didn't break. He humbled himself and learned the law in a way that no one man has done in over 100 years. I mean, you might have had people at the early 20th century who knew this stuff, like it might have been more common, but definitely not the sense of urgency of the 20th century or beginning of 20th century, because they would have kept the nation, they wouldn't have let it go off the rails like they did. So you are dealing with a mind and a man who is generationally unique, multiple generationally unique. And what's important to understand is the fact that he gives all the glory to God and God's wisdom. Let me give you a specific example. And Dave does this all the time, so I'm not I'm not trying to take anything different away from him. Giving broad diffusion of knowledge. When Dave says give broad diffusion of knowledge, first of all, that's what's written in the Virginia Constitution, Article 1 and Section 15. Um, that's godly wisdom, because you're dirtying everybody's hand when you give them evidence that the law is being broken. Now, most people won't slow down and think about that. But when Dave started teaching, give broad diffusion of knowledge, the average ear, like me, whenever I first started learning from Dave, was like, what does that mean? Broad diffusion? Why do I need broad diffusion knowledge? And then I got to the position whenever I was like, okay, so I tell everybody, what does that do? And so there's degrees of wisdom, and candidly, I don't think the average American is going to slow down and really think about what's going on, which is why big accounts won't come to Dave. They'll, when they hear him, like what was that dude, Mario Nawal or what his name was, when he heard Dave talk, they were like, holy crap, this dude's freaking legit. And they invited him back anytime he wanted. But Dave understands that God's wisdom is not a majority thing. Like God, I don't know any instance where God works through the majority. God works the way that he works. And that's why it's so very rare to find people who will walk with the Lord, prove all things by what the Bible teaches, and then actually do it. It's very rare. It's rare air. It is a very unique circumstance when you get somebody who acknowledges Jesus Christ as the Bible teaches, not as your pastor or the internet teaches or some seminary teaches, but as the Bible teaches. And then it's rare to take that acknowledgement and apply it to something that is as broad as the law, that literally touches all the aspects of life. And then, even further, they do it in a way that you can't hear them teach or talk about it or do it without giving glory to Jesus. There's never been an instance like this in my lifetime, and probably the previous three lifetimes before me. Now, all of that to say this: when we're talking about sending notice, when Dave's talking about sending notice to solve this problem, there's ears that will hear that and be like, okay, well, it's a notice. What does that do? But you're missing what God does through his word. Words are spirit. You can't grab them, you can't see them, you can't hold them. And yet they literally change the world. By giving broad diffusion of knowledge of the basic powers and the law of the nation, people will naturally, they will very easily take the corruption and the stupidity and the evil and the oppression that they see, that they experience. They will naturally see the pain they're going through, and they will connect it with the remedy. And that is how quick God's wisdom shoots through the people. You can't control it. This is when Jesus is teaching. Now I'm going to preach. This is when Jesus is teaching in John chapter 3. And he tells Nicodemus, uh, don't be amazed that I say that you must be born again, but that the Holy Spirit moves. You don't know where he comes from, you don't know where he goes, but you know he's there. People underestimate God because they try to because they don't want to listen what God says in the Bible. They want to project themselves onto God and imagine themselves, well, what would I do if I was in charge of everything? Well, you're a dumb schmuck and you need to shut up because you're not God. When God's in charge, or I should say, because God is in charge, he does things his way. And what I'm blessed to see is that whenever Dave humbled himself to learn the law and then walk in obedience with God, people have betrayed, people have backstabbed, people have tried to steal content, people have tried to distract, people have tried to take away from this man. And he does not fit the mold. I'm a white guy from rural Oklahoma. My choice of teacher would never be, I'll just be straight, it would never have been a black dude from urban Detroit. Would not have been my preference. If you would have said, Jaron, who do you want to learn the law from? I would have said some older white guy with a baritone voice that can speak, the words that make me feel comfortable because they sound smart. That's what I would have said. Instead, I get Mike Tyson, black dude, ebonics, barely conjugating verbs, spitting watermelon seeds while eating chicken. And all this stuff is like precision in the law. And it's like, holy crap, this dude is legit.
Wait,
Now,
you mean all that in love,
oh,
obviously.
yeah, it's all in love. I mean, all of this in love. And Dave knows that. He knows he ain't dumb. And by the way, Dave's IQ is like incredibly high. He just plays dumb. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but like the
That's
dude
a
is
fact.
like the dude's like super smart. He just has that I be no smart game on lock.
And
Um
the other reason I came up is because I really appreciate the fire, and I am just so thrilled right now. I am just excited to make this happen and move forward. And so, thank you very much, David. I really
y-
appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the notice. And Jaron, the only other thing is that you need, I think, to learn how to say amenable. Is it, or what's the word that you
yeah, amenable.
yeah, you say amenable. I think it's,
That's
isn't it
funny.
amenable, you guys?
No, 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 no. It really is
It is
amenable.
amenable.
So
So I
Jaron
got to
Jaron
change
has it
me.
right and you have it
Okay,
wrong.
I have it wrong. It's
Yeah.
amenable. I thought it was
So
amenable. So
so
interesting.
so the beautiful thing about this situation, and this is what I realized. I've learned a lot from Dave. I've learned a lot of stuff that he's not said. I just observe patterns. But then I've learned a lot from confirmation. Like I'll tell you here, earlier today, I was telling Dave, I was like, dude, these dumb judges, because I'm suing a lot of judges. Like I'm suing a lot of judges, and I'm like, none of them are answering. And he was just like, yeah, there's an earlier video I did, and I've never seen this earlier video. I've never heard him say this. And I was like, hold on. I could go ask people in Connect We where this video is. And some of them may know what I'm talking about, and some of them might not. I don't know. But I stopped and I go, hold on. Dave's my brother. He's going to go, what does the Bible say about this? And so I just goes like, God, what does your Bible say about this issue? And so I remembered the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, and it says that basically when you catch your servants doing wrong, when you correct your servants, they're not going to answer you. And here I am in multiple federal lawsuits in many districts. It's not just me, it's other people that I'm helping. No one is answering. Now, if you hear me say this, you might be like, well, okay, Jaron, what are you going to do? You're not understanding what the law is. We live in a civil society. We don't use guns or bullets or knives or bombs to make things happen. We use words.
And the truth silences.
Yes.
Yes.
And so when these people, now I'm going to tell you, I've written several federal lawsuits. I'm getting pretty good. I'm getting pretty good at it, but it took practice. But I write these things. God bless. Like I've learned a lot from Dave. I study this man. I write these things and I don't I don't leave any wiggle room. By the time you get done reading it, you're like, holy crap, these guys are screwed. And that's why they don't even answer. They literally don't even respond. And I'm sitting here going, Dave, why aren't they answering, man? And he's like, yeah, I taught this a couple years ago. And I have no doubt that he was teaching this years ago. What I love about Dave is the fact that whenever he learned it, he didn't go make himself rich. He didn't go elevate himself. What he did was he realized he had to teach, which is what our Savior teaches. Our Savior commanded whenever he came out of the grave before he went to heaven, before he ascended, he goes, teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then he says, teaching all of them to obey all of my commands. See, Christ wants everything that he says to be obeyed, not some of it and not by some people. He wants all of it obeyed by all people. And so we are in the practice of obeying our Lord if you're in his church, but if you're not, amen, let's talk the gospel. But we are in the practice of our Savior when we are teaching and distributing his wisdom. And because he controls literally everything, heaven and earth, when you say words that are spirit, you can't grab them, you can't see them, you can't touch them, taste them, lock them up tight. When you say that, he will move things in a way that you can't predict, you can't measure, you can't understand completely, but he does it. And it's just, it is one of those, it is the coolest thing in the world. And I've even called in airstrikes on bad guys. So like I've done some really cool stuff. There's nothing cooler than like writing a notice or an affidavit knowing the government agent is trapped and they won't answer because you've locked them and you've bound them so tightly in the law, there's no answer. And so my encouragement, and I'll shut up because I didn't have my hand raised, but I wanted to answer Sleepy Selfie, was that we don't need the big accounts. And I would lovingly encourage you, just be like, dude, like I did,
Yeah, I'm off
repent,
that now. I'm off that.
repent.
I wanted to let everybody know that I tried it and it's
Yep.
very eye
Yep.
opening. And so I'm
Dude,
off of it and I'm like on to this. So
I helped a guy. I helped a guy who's a very famous guy. Everyone here would know who he is. I helped him get out of well, I helped his friend get out of a multi-million-dollar penalty from the feds. And I was like, okay, this will definitely get him to nope. He just moved on. He's like, all right, cool. Yeah, you're a good patriot, Jaron. You're good doing stuff. Good job. Dude, I just won you a $2 million case. And you're not gonna like ask me like where I learned it and like how to do it, and you're not gonna teach people and you're not gonna do it. So
the one
yeah,
other thing I was going
I'm
to say before you go is that I was talking about this today with my girlfriend is that, we have free will. We're on the planet. We have free will. But the thing is that you only can change your path certain times and certain ways and all that. And so by being grounded in God's spirit and a clean, great mind and living, you create karma. Karma is a beautiful thing when you're creating good karma and spreading love while you're on this planet. And so that I think changes your path. And so what I want to say to everybody that's here on this and in this call, you're all here because
What do you
of
mean? What do you mean God's spirit and karma?
well, because I think that if you have the love of God in your heart and you have that feeling and emotion that you're connected to your God and that um, you feel as if humanity has it has a
You let me
it
say this. You may believe in a creator, but the God of the Bible doesn't have a karma.
no karma
And
no karma is related you don't so it's not a karma. What is
no,
it that
no,
create that
no,
you
no.
create if you
There's
have
no
a
such
love
thing
of
of a
your
karma. God tells you that if you serve him and you obey him, that is his will for good things to come together for the good of you, good and bad. He don't say nothing about
okay
karma, my friend.
okay
I'm not
no
trying to
I need to
challenge you. I'm
learn
just
because
telling you that don't exist in the
I need to
Bible.
learn that. So thank you for stepping in because I didn't know that. I don't know. I thought karma was because I'm a good person. I live by, with God in my heart. I thought that my karma, it was the reason
No,
I did it. So it's another word.
there's people like P Diddy who rape kids, and he gets good things in his life. That's not
So
Bible.
what's the word I should use instead of, if I just have God in my heart and I love my God
Well,
and Jesus
the
and
first thing to do would be to make sure that you have God in your heart, because when you just spoke about God, you kind of mentioned your God, or kind of like there was different ones. So you got to first find out which God you want to roll with, because there's some false gods and there's a real God. So depending on what God you looking for, the words are going to be different.
interesting.
So if you're talking about the God of the Bible doesn't speak of karma, but he tells you that he blesses those who trust in him.
I
He
see.
blesses those who follow
I
him.
see.
But he also says that you'll have things that happen to you if you belong to him, that if you will, he would do things that'll bring forth patience, which means that you'll have a trying of your faith, which means that some bad things gonna happen too, which he's faithful in doing, because when he allows bad things to happen to you, it makes you a bad mama jamma, right? So just when you think that because you belong to God that everything is going to be peaches and cream all the time, that's not real Bible. And if you want to be the best at anything, you're never really fire and monstrous until you have a problem, right? Until you have a problem that causes, or the people have a problem that causes you to have to dig in, and you have to know that this isn't like just getting up and walking down the street under my own power, but it takes for me to trust in God, because this is bigger than me, bigger than anything that I can do. When you understand that you have infirmities and that God is the one who's allowing you to move and breathe and have life, that's when you really get to know God, his patience, temperance, virtue, um, experience, right? A lot of us say we have faith, but don't know what faith is. The first thing about faith is based on God's word. And so this is why I'm very careful when we say things that are not in God's word, and we ascribe something to God that God did not say. Because if faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, faith is not some magic thing where we just know that good things will come. Faith is actually believing what God said enough to make you do something. So the Bible tells us that when we trust in God, or we have faith in him, that people in the Bible were able to subdue whole kingdoms, whole nations, stop the mouths of lions, stand in a time when they could just give in and give their life and not care. So that's what real faith would do. So when people around me speak of faith and they mention God, we got to be careful, because sometimes we saying stuff that God didn't say. But go ahead,
Well, hey,
Jared.
I appreciate that clarification, and I'm sorry that I showed off some of my non, uneducated. I'm a little uneducated on the Bible. I mean, I really apologize for that, you guys, everybody. But gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, David, and you have so much love in your heart. I really appreciate it.
Hey, it's all God. I'm nothing special. It's just his word. And I'm going to tell you, one of the hardest things for men who love God is to speak up and tell the truth when something like what just happened. But if we love each other, we're going to tell the truth, even if it hurts in the moment, because what happens is God gets the glory, and we understand the value and the power of his word. And so it's not by mistake that God has blessed this movement of people who have taken precision. It is the fact that the people who love God in this movement, who really have faith, who walk along with God, have decided to do the unthinkable, because we trust God. And so when Jaron speaks about helping somebody win a case that was millions of dollars, they trusted in attorneys who would not give them the truth, and they could feel that they weren't given the truth. But Jaron stood in as a man who believed what God said, knowing what I just said about what God will do with somebody that belongs to him. And we got to realize that it's not by mistake that Jaron has won a big tax case and another federal case over $2 million. So I think it was valuable what Jaron was saying as somebody with the Spirit of God. So I want to give him the mic back so Jaron could finish, because he was dropping knowledge on y'all from his experience as somebody who loves God. So Jaron has actually won things that nobody else on this call, including me, has won. So I think it's a good thing when we see people who have done things that give God the glory, that we slow down to give them time to say what they have to say, because it's not by mistake that Jaron has been able to do the unthinkable. It is by wisdom and understanding and knowledge. And he's sharing with you guys what he's been able to do by God's good um, wisdom that he has placed in him, and the struggles that he has allowed him to go through. So, Jaron, take the mic back if you can.
Dave, can I make one comment on Jaron prior to giving the mic to him?
Who's that, Greg?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to let everybody know that Jaron is an incredible resource for everyone on this call and everyone that will hear this call. He is, I'm a member of his Live Local church. It's only $10 a month. It's incredible, the information and the resources that he spreads. And his Rumble, he's done numerous videos. I've watched every one of them. He just completed a series on bad actors. He did a series on the grand juries. If you haven't listened to them, they're so educational, and it gives you the basics and the information that I'm sure he's using to win these federal lawsuits, but also take the nation back. So if you have the time between Dave's law classes and Jaron's Rumble, there's so many resources available to us on this call. And I'm sure I'm leaving a lot of people out, but it's something that we should all focus on. And Jaron, I just want to, I can't thank you enough. Keep doing them. They're educational, they're helpful, and we will be a better organization and group of people as we get educated. And the wisdom that I've gained over the past year is off the charts. One other thing I want to mention is we did an affidavit in We the People on the Federal Communication Commission, and it falls under the exact thing that we're dealing with, because it is it's basically a corrupt enterprise. They just approved 40 of the biggest markets, 220 radio stations going to George Soros, and they did it in the dead of night. And the entire agency, going back to 1927, was formed as a temporary agency. They made it permanent, and it's because we, the people, just stopped watching our government and we let them control us. And they control our communications. They shut our communications down. I'm in Georgia. The hurricane came through. We lost all communications. The grocery store would only accept cash. And that went on for 4 days. And some people were still dealing with it. So we have to get control back to the states. We have to get rid of the Federal Communication Commission. We should have the notice hopefully completed tomorrow or Monday. And if you've got time, join us on We the People Assembly. Thanks, Dave.
The the yeah, I appreciate the kind words, and obviously, I'm going to always give glory to God, because God is jealous and He never wants to share. And Amen. And obviously,
Amen.
Dave taught me, and this is where I was going with this before. We kind of spoke about other things. Um, what I really appreciate, as I've learned from Dave, is like it's the small things that he says over and over and over, that whenever you do them as a matter of practice, those are actually the most decisive things. Let me give you an example. um, I am involved in certain actions, not by my choice. And that's what brought me to Dave in desperation, having my life attacked and all these other people coming after me and the such. Dave teaches broad diffusion of knowledge. What I was trying to do was to say that that is a biblical principle. When Jesus raised from the grave, and he said, "Teach all nations, teach them to obey all my commands." That's broad diffusion of knowledge. The truth being declared by a lot of people gets people to understand what the standard is. If God's word is what Jesus will use to judge us, John chapter 12 and verse 48, right? If we have the word of God, we're going to Jesus will use the Bible to judge. That's his standard. His standard is what the Bible says. So if you're smuggling meaning in or twisting, or as I've learned, using bad text or corrupt texts for the Bible, you don't have the standard that God's going to use when God's going to judge. That's important. Now, let me link that directly to the law and what's going on with me right now, because this is experience that I've literally had to fight. Like, this is literal combat, quote unquote, combat experience in lawsuits with real dirty attorneys and real dumb, vicious, corrupt judges coming after me. The broad diffusion of knowledge that Dave repeatedly, and this is just an example, there are other things that he says that he repeats very often, that if you do them, you put them all together, you will be a very well-rounded fighter, and you will be doing things by practice without even thinking about it that are going to give you victory for whenever it hits. And let me be specific about the broad diffusion of knowledge. By giving everybody broad diffusion of knowledge, and by that I mean, let's say that I write an affidavit, let's say, Dave hurt me in the law, and then I give it to everybody else. Everybody else. And I certify it and I can prove it and the such. If that's the case, then I've just now dirtied everybody's hands who received that affidavit. So, Dave teaching broad diffusion of knowledge is not only giving a biblical concept, teach all the nations, teach them to obey all my commands, which is what Jesus teaches, but Dave is taking that concept of broad diffusion, and he's actually showing when people receive the word, when they receive the truth and they don't act on it, they show themselves bad actors. Now, he has said this deliberately, a lot, but he doesn't say it as much as he says broad diffusion of knowledge. Now, when I started learning from him, I did not have the wisdom to understand what he was doing. I was just like, okay, so I take this and I just give it to everybody. To my credit, I was so desperate and broken. I was like, Dave says to do it, I'm going to do it. Like, Dave says to give broad diffusion of knowledge, I'm going to give broad diffusion of knowledge. This is what I'm going to do. I did not learn until later he's setting traps for people to have knowledge of the law being broken and them not doing anything. So here I am a year plus later, and I have on the public record a very clear, very concise, very repeated, like the Declaration of Independence talks about, after a long train of abuses. Think about that. The founders had to petition over and over and over and over and over just to prove the pattern of maladministration or the pattern of oppression, that eventually everyone realized, oh, maybe we should just do our own thing. And that's the wisdom Dave's using right now. If you go back to the
Hey, Jared, did you say you hit him with a divorce decree and told all the reasons for everything and made a record of it over over a lot of time with a lot of people? You cheated, and I got witnesses that said that you cheated. I got like 30 affidavits of the ladies you cheated with, and you swore you were gonna do right. When we go to court, your anus is done.
Yes, dude. I
Same thing.
dude, when I started challenging jurisdiction And I literally said the same thing over and over and over and over, and they all ignored me. I'm sitting there going, like, this isn't working. What's going on? Like, what's not happening? And that brought my relationship to God, brought me closer to God, because that's the fire. That's the trial. That's the test. Are you going to break? You think that you can just write one little piece of paper and everything happens? That might be the case. I mean, there have been instances where I have written affidavits and children came home. Like, not as much as Dave, but there were instances where I would write affidavits and people and judges. I got 5 kids out of Mississippi or back from Mississippi. The judge was like, "Yeah, we ain't going to touch you again. Like, we're done." He was just like, "We're out." So it happens.
Wait, Jared, are you saying that is something that can be repeated? Meaning, like the knowledge goes
It's
from me,
science.
goes to you, and you got kids back home too?
Yes,
Dang.
yes. It's the law is a science. And when Dave says his little things like broad diffusion of knowledge or be precise. I had someone message me probably about an hour ago, hour and a half ago. He was like, "My rights were just violated." And he just listed out like 30 things. And I was like, choose one. Like, choose one. And I'll just say this, like, I tweeted, I saw it. Tina Peters was this lady in Colorado. She was a court clerk. She kept the record of the bad election or whatever, and she just got sentenced to 9 years. Well, which is a hoax, by the way, but she never stood on her rights because she had trusted dumb attorneys and she did podcasting fundraisers, which is sad. But um, the Supreme Court denied her injunction to stay her imprisonment. And I looked at the petition that her attorney filed, and it's 360 pages long. It's like, dude, you could clear her with 1 page. If you got that, you just need to say, listen, this the elections were maladministered, right? The elections were more than 1 day in Colorado in 2020. So if you have an election, and just minimally, if you have an election that's more than 1 day, that's maladministration of elections. So if you have an election that's maladministered, then you have a constitutional duty to keep the record, regardless of what any dumb statute says, because your oath is to the Constitution, not to the dumb statute. So if the Constitution says election and the election was more than 1 day, that ain't an election. That's an unlawful election. And so if this lady is like keeping the records for it, the dumb attorney literally never argued that. Literally never argued that. And who is the first guy in my life that I've ever heard say the word maladministration? Dave. Dave's been hammering maladministration for years. A woman just went to jail and she never even said the freaking word. And it's like, people, I guess my whole point in this, and I'll shut up. My whole point in this is we have so much pain and corruption and evil in this country. There's so much bad government, and we are so good at complaining about it. Like, literally everyone and their dog has a podcast. And then that podcast, they're going to say, "Did you know that the radical left is destroying America? Did you know that FEMA is blocking people and taking their property?" Well, that sucks. That's evil. That's horrible. I don't like that. What are you going to do about it? And then that's when it's crickets. That's when I've become so angry and quick to anger at this idea of, okay, you're just going to complain about it. What are you going to do about it? In other words, stop complaining to me if you have no remedy or you're not willing to work. Because I get it. Like, if you're not going to do, if you don't have the solution, okay, but help me, help walk with me, walk with me. And that's the invitation. It's like Dave's going to write the notice, Lord willing. We got to let him go off this space. He's going to write this notice, and we're going to walk as one. The people, Lord willing, will walk as one, and the government will see the words that are written on paper digitally, and they're going to be like, holy crap, these people know the law. We're not messing with them. And so you don't need to go and try to get big accounts. You don't need to go to try to convince anybody. Right now, the name of the game is just, here's what the law says. and you let the law do the converting. It's just like the Bible. It's like, First Peter chapter 4 and verse 11 says, if any man should speak, he should speak as the oracles of God. I don't need to add to the Bible. I'm just going to say what the Bible says. You can either do it or you don't. You either believe it or you don't. Here, Dave read for you. I mean, I read it, but Dave pointed to the Tennessee Constitution. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary and what was it, oppression is slavish and dumb. It's like, guys, we need to take action. And the way that we take action by God is with love, in peace, and with wisdom. And by doing that, it works because it's based on biblical principle. I'm going to stop preaching. I've taken way too long. I'm not going to raise my hand. God bless you, Dave. Let's rock. Whatever you got, I'm on board.
That's awesome, Jaron. Thanks so much. I know Sandy's been patiently waiting. So, Sandy, I do believe you're up. And then Angry Pop.
Let's get Sandy, Angry Pop, and then let's get Samantha as the last speaker.
All righty.
Oh, come on, I got my hand up too.
I didn't see.
Pilsner, can I go? Can I go last, please? I got something I got to say to Jaron.
Man, is it important? Because y'all not gonna let me get this freaking notice done.
Look, well, okay. Let me just ask the question now.
No, you got to go last.
Okay.
We got to let the people go who didn't go, to be fair. So let's get Sandy, Angry Pop, and Samantha.
I want you to,
and then send Jaron a message, and then Jaron, you let us know if it's important. Then we'll
send
go
him,
ahead. But let's get Sandy
and
first.
I want you to eat food, Dave. I don't want you passing out or doing anything like.
Man, we ain't gonna worry about me right now. We got to get the nation taken care of.
Well,
Come
you
on,
got to take care of yourself, and there's gonna be.
it'll be okay. We got to get this monster stuff going though. We gotta bring that freaking heat right now. Some people ain't eating, some people ain't sleeping, some people have nothing left to sleep on. We gotta get for real, y'all. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
and I'm
Sandy.
going to forget to say what I want to say. This is Sandy. I have just a couple of things and I'll make it short. But I was thinking about, I'll start off with what I was thinking about what Dave was saying, what Jaron was saying, that Dave, you have some short phrases that are really key, that resonate in our heads when we are studying. And another one I want to share with the group and new people is no conversation without documentation. And basically, the way I understood that and how I've taken that into my studies and how I've taken it forward to talk with government officials, not to say anything that I cannot show them in writing. Which, showing them in writing, I was learned to understand how everything is written in the Bible. And I've learned that through Dave as being my teacher. And I want to say to Sleepy Selfie with regard to his questions that he had, and he was humbled to listen to Dave talk with him about God tonight and the truth. Stay with Dave, Sleepy, because Dave is a person who can give you so much clarity and understanding, and tell you, for you to be able to see the truth as it is written in the Bible, and to be able to understand how we, as a Christian and as a believer in God and Jesus Christ, that we are to follow him. And it's basically strictly through obeying. So if you hang with Dave, he always is showing us where things are in the Bible and how it's directly correlated within our constitutions. And with that being said, for all the beginners who are out there, Psalm 119 is a really great place to start for understanding the law and what the laws are. This is another thing that I've learned from Dave, and I still continue to read it periodically because it does have a lot of depth and it does take time to understand it. And the other thing that I've learned in my studies with Dave, to all the new people who are there, when you have the opportunity to read your Constitution or anything that you're going to read, I have learned to read it slowly, phrase by phrase, and try to understand the phrase in itself so that it sinks in. And tonight, Dave I'll never forget it when Dave presented in a webinar. I believe it was December 24th on 2022 is the first time he brought John Locke forward. And I will never believe the power or the depth of understanding the severity of what we are experiencing and what is going on with our government until this particular document came in front of us. So those of you who are new and are listening, I would encourage you, you can go online and find this. And I think Dave did the sections of it was 117, I think it's chapter 10, I'm not sure, but it's 117, 118, and I think it was 221 and 222, 220, 221, 222 tonight. But I would encourage you out there, read it again and read it multiple times, which I have, because every time I hear Dave present it, I hear something new. And again, if you read it phrase by phrase, the depth of the understanding and the magnitude of the impact of the truth that's in there is very freeing, but it's also so unbelievably, the first time I heard it, I was just dropping my jaw. I was just like, couldn't believe that that was written there and hidden from us. So that's really all I have to say. I just wanted to share that with regard to anybody who's new. Be patient. Um, Read your Constitution. Start with your Bill of Rights or your Declaration of Rights. So everybody have a good evening. And Dave, looking forward to that notice.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get on it if the Lord wills. All right, thank you for that, Sandy Zane. Thank you for the powerful words always. I think we got Angry Pop. Let me see. It was Angry Pop, Sandy.
And then Pilsner wanted to come in last.
If he got something important to
Oh,
say, we're
if
going
he
to let
has
Jaron
something
talk.
important to
Go
say.
ahead,
Okay.
Angry Pop.
Hey y'all. Yeah,
Hey, hey.
I'm right there with you, brother David. I'm so disgusted at what I see. People rejecting the knowledge, you know, and night after night I try to drill it into their heads. You know, guys, it's written. It's there. There's nothing to dispute about it. Brother David has shown us the key of knowledge that they took away, you know, and it's real. And, you know, Thomas Jefferson said, educate and inform the whole mass of the people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty, you know. And, you know, with John Locke being read tonight, it brings up to me Patrick Henry's uh, speech in the House of Burgess in March of 1775. And we're seeing that very same thing again today, believe it or not. And you'll see, I'm going to read it so y'all can see how it fits with John Locke's two treatises of government. That's where he gained that knowledge from whenever he made this speech in 1775. He said, they tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be next week or next year? Will it be taken when we are totally disarmed? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemies shall have bound us hand and foot? Sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations. This battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? what would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it. Almighty God, I know not what others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. And that's at the House of Burgess in Virginia of 1775. That's how our nation was born, because men decided no more. Men decided to stand up against the despotism of a tyrant. Men decided to join together for the betterment of all men in their society. It's time we do that again, people. Brother David has been telling y'all for years. I have been trying to send more people to him to teach for years, and I will continue to do that. Now, on another note, what they're doing over there in the Carolinas, taking people's personal property, preventing them from helping their neighbors in need, that's not godly, folks. That's the principalities of darkness in high places. That's exactly what that is. This biblical war has never ended. It is our time to stand with God and correct the errors of bad men and women and remove these despots from our nation permanently. Enough is enough. Now, on a personal note, some of y'all I've told, uh, I the CT scan showed a mass in my left lung. I went for a biopsy a couple of days ago, and I'm waiting for the results of that. Uh, Others of you know my wife is very sick, and according to the doctors, she ain't got long left with us. Now, she's the only thing that's kept me homebound and not in their face on a daily basis. If the Lord takes her away from me, y'all gonna be seeing a whole lot more of me out there. I promise you that. Until the good Lord takes my last breath from me. Now, I don't know who y'all follow, but I follow the God who knew me before he placed me in my mother's womb. That's the God I follow. And I follow his son, Jesus Christ, that sacrificed his life to include me in salvation forever. So now, if y'all don't follow that God, that's up to you. It's your personal decision to make. God gave us that choice. Ain't no man can guide that choice for us. But when you know you're walking with God, you ain't got nothing to fear. He ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. And if something does happen to you, he's gonna find favor in you, laying your life down for your fellow man. That's in the scriptures. I ain't one to quote scriptures because I don't like making mistakes. I don't have the memory that Brother David has been blessed with. So I'm kind of goes around the bush on things a little bit just to get y'all's curiosity up so that maybe you might pick up the book and read it for yourself. You know, that's just how I am and who I am. I'm just a simple-minded man that have fought these fools for the vast majority of my life. And until I met Brother David, I didn't have remedy. I had to fight, but I didn't have remedy. So thank you, Brother David, for showing me the keys of knowledge. And
Hey, it's all God, big dog. I'm just a small fry, and you know it.
hey, I'm
And
right there with you, brother. But hey, I love you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And I'm going to keep on sending them to you. You keep on teaching them. Jared, I'm sending a bunch of them your way too because I like the way that you teach. I do watch your videos. I don't come in your chats often, but my time is kind of concentrated on my wife these days. So, y'all bear with me, and I could use your prayers to all you prayer warriors out there. Uh, I could use it. And, I'm doing what I can do from my end, helping people. Uh, Got a court case coming up next week that might might just return a young man to his father. So it's the third judge that's received notice now. The other two have resigned after they received notice of their ill-gotten gains. So the third judge will be receiving his notice next week. The son is coming back into the state, and helping them draft up the notice to present to the judge. But you got to teach them how to handle themselves whenever they go before that judge, so they don't slip up. And
Amen.
and for any of y'all that hadn't seen it, Brother David has a video on Odyssey that he entitled "The Real Title 42 and CPS Truth Revealed." If y'all ain't seen that video, look it up. I mean, if you need the link for it, if it ain't available out there in his videos, I've still got the link wrote down, and so I can give that to y'all if you ain't got it. I ain't sure if you even got it, Brother David, but that one I think.
Man, I told Jaren earlier today I got like 100 million videos. I'm like, I don't even know what I ate yesterday.
Well,
I'm like, Chuck.
this is the one that opened my eyes to the crooked criminal actions in the court system, Jaron. So, if you ain't seen this one, just DM me, man, and I'll send you the link over to it
Yeah.
for Odyssey.
Can you just put it in the purple pill that way everybody else can see it too?
Well, I don't know how to put things in the purple pill, but I can put it up above, I guess. I'll just give me a second, and
Sure.
I'll send it to somebody so they can uh, distribute it. Is Pilsner still here? I don't know if I see him down there, but I'll send it over to somebody who knows how this technology works. I ain't very good at this stuff, y'all. So I can run my mouth a little bit and I can read a little bit, and that's about it. So, but I love y'all, and Brother David, you keep doing you, brother, and I'll keep doing my little part, and we got this. God's in
Yeah, you
control.
got you got a big part, boss, and let's go ahead and knock this thing out, man, and make it what it is. All right, y'all. So that was Angry Pop. He just read some amazing fire to us, guys. And that's one thing, guys. We got a tendency to push off doing what we can do that can bring us remedy. We got to stop pushing stuff off. We got to stop waiting until somebody else comes, waiting till somebody else is elected, waiting until somebody else tells us it's okay, or they going to give us some money to make the word go out, or they going to give us access to a show and all that stuff. Screw all that. Let's get that action in. Let's get old school, grassroots, and start teaching people. Let's get out there and drop that knowledge, that wisdom, and fire. Y'all got more access to people than our forefathers had who beat a dang king. Y'all got the dang internet and computers. If they can use computers to flip votes fast as heck, what can you do by pushing a button? Come on now. Know your power. All right. I'm going to get on the notice if the Lord wills, guys. Y'all be cool. Y'all stay out of trouble. I will try to get with y'all soon and be done. Let's get that action in. Love y'all. This space is not yours. Peace. Share it with everybody too.